Transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.
You can have my sexy anime video game girls over my dead body. This is 01.
Let me be the first person on the internet to say P. Diddy did not kill himself.
Tonight, after plunging into the depths of Chilean ruins at the top of mountains, discovering treasures thought lost to time, and fighting his way back to civilization, Josh Berger is the guy with the stuff.
Bro, I got the cool intro again. That made me completely forget about the punchline I just had.
Thankfully, the punchline is always diversity, especially tonight.
What about my other favorite jokes are equity and inclusion. How could you forget those? And then environmental, social governance, those are all the funniest things in the world.
Absolutely. But we just don't, the whole intro, and I
know we
trying to be funny,
time.
Spencer, dang it.
We don't have enough time to hit everything in the
Josh's thing. I didn't need to
putting us all on the level playing field. But yes, everyone, welcome to another Wednesday night, another episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics. I am your host, Editor-in-Chief Spencer Baculi, and I am joined by three of the best dudes I know. Jacob, Society Reviews, Cider Hype, and Josh, the resident Brit Burger. How are you guys doing tonight?
Still alive.
Still alive. No, I'm doing better than everybody who's on like P. Diddy's list, apparently. Like this thing, like Jacob brought it up, but yeah, I want to like comment on it real quick. Like, I don't know if anybody's been following it. Like, P. Diddy is now like the Jeffrey Epstein of the rap scene, and they like raided his house and he fled the country and he's in like the Bahamas now. Like, I don't really have more to say than just like
no.
Huh.
I hope this is the plot to Bad Boys 4 or 5, whatever, which one we're on now. I hope that Will Smith and that other guy have to go and like Lawrence something or other has to go Lawrence. And like, yeah, Martin Lawrence, that guy, they have to go and stop a P. Diddy stand-in, and he's like, he's like human trafficking and they got to do it. And they're like just accidentally, you know what I mean? They accidentally have this exact same plot,
But here's the problem. I'm pretty sure that like, because Jake wasn't saying this, like I got that turn of phrase from him that this is the Jeffrey Epstein of like the rap game. Like, where's Will in this? I don't know if he's completely clean. I don't know if they're gonna want to like air his own like laundry out on the big screen. You know what I mean? Yeah, the funniest part is 50 Cent calling him and Jay-Z out. That was what you were watching last night, right, Jacob? Those videos?
Oh yeah,
dude, those ones
played a lot of them.
Those ones were really weird. I don't. Yeah, like
they're very incriminating, aren't they?
They're like so. Yeah, like the videos we're talking about here, guys. They're really a lot of those videos where like. Again, I'm paraphrasing a lot of what Jacob said because from his show last night because he hit it like right on the head. But it's like all these people around him like know these stories and they all talk about it on like live streams or whatever, and they all just like laugh. But it's that laugh of like this is effed up, but we can't say anything because like this is our like bread, like our bread basket or whatever. But you can tell it's just so bad. It's so weird. But
like,
yeah, this is the saga.
Just real quick before we go on to the story,
Yeah.
It was literally the one with like Kevin Hart and Usher while Diddy's telling the story about how him and Usher used to share a bed when he was like 10 years old and he was like a grown adult, and they're just sitting here like laughing it off as if they didn't just admit to something like straight up illegal, like right on live.
Well, then, like the next line is I forget who asks. It's like, would you let your son like have a Diddy sleepover? And who is it? It's like 50's like, hell no. Like what the fuck?
No, Usher said hell no.
Oh, yeah, that was Usher.
He was the one who did.
Yeah.
So the other thing that's been like going around about this is that, as you know, Dom Lucra over on X has been airing a episode by episode documentary on Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider. Well, as it would turn out, P. Diddy got in the business of all that. And here's a scene that he was involved in, courtesy of Nickelodeon Studios. So they are dumping white paste onto a sleeping boy. Yep. At the direction of P. Diddy.
Phil's sound asleep. What are we gonna do? I don't know. You know, in situations like this, I always ask myself, what would P. Diddy do?
Yeah. You just have a day where you're just like, what would Diddy do?
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly what I want out in the ether.
Yeah, what would Diddy do? Human traffic.
I don't like,
that's what he would do.
But between like this and the Dan Schneider stuff, like I don't want to ever look at like old Nickelodeon ever again.
Yeah, like everything from what all that on is pretty much tainted because it's like, it's basically all of these registered and unregistered sex offenders like putting their perversion like right in your face to the point where you can't even deny it's there anymore.
So Diddy instructs the children to put a helicopter toy in the pants of the young boy. Here it is. I'll go back to where he says it.
Tell you what, take this toy helicopter, put it down his pants.
All right, we'll do.
I'm not liking any of this. This is I don't even know what's happening it's like you just said, Jacob, like it's throwing it right in our faces.
It's what it is. That's what it is. The whole point of that is to show other abusers of children this is how easy it is.
Oh, dude, 1,000%. I mean, we've all by this point, we've all seen like the Dan Schneider posts from like the official iCarly Twitters. That's like, oh, right, hashtag Carly and Sam on your feet, and we'll retweet it or whatever. Like, oh, that's so messed up. Like, this is so gross. Like, I don't. The dude has a foot pool. Like, it's a pool at his house.
He photoshops feet onto actresses' heads. Just severed feet onto heads.
It's not even like that's like that's like Super Saiyan 3 foot fetish. Like, it's not even just your regular one. Like, this is getting weird where you're doing photoshops of like extreme body mods. I don't know. I'm just
Cat Williams definitely he nailed this because like what was it a month ago 100%. He said that Diddy's time was up. He was saying that Diddy's time was up. He's bouncing all over that couch. Yeah, here it is right here.
Let's see. Yeah, Jacob's got it. I knew he did.
Yeah, it's called it like I said like 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. And we don't
wait, hold on, pause real quick.
The other side.
What's his chain say? It says woke and then what?
Oh, I had to take a quick look. I didn't see
it's obviously not like he's woke. He's probably making fun of something, but it's really funny.
And we don't care nothing about the other side. Period. Period. All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
Jeez, it's just
Lo
like
and
right.
behold, here we are.
And Diddy's going down. Dude, honestly though, the diddler being like a trending topic has given me so much joy over the last couple days. Like all the photoshops, especially because everybody photoshops him into the Jim Carrey Riddler. And so it's just like the most absurd image you could ever imagine. And then like, oh, it makes me even more uncomfortable because there's that video of Diddy on like Halloween where he's the Joker and he's like acting like the Joker. And it's just like, I don't know if this is an act anymore. Like, I
probably
think
not.
Yeah, right. Like,
I mean,
I think
like,
he just had to pop off.
There's been so many allegations about things going like we're only getting to the surface on like the sexual allegations, but like outside of that, Diddy's been implicated in like several murders, disappearances, arrests, screwing people out of deals.
It's been like I bring this up every time because we've talked about, right. There's been a lot of updates in these cases. Like since you started the bar room, like the Pac and Biggie murders and stuff. And like every time you bring it up, I know you know what I say. I go, we all know who fucking ordered it. Sorry, we all know who ordered like the hits. It was a Diddy. Everybody says like Diddy did it. I did it on Diddy, and he's still out there. So it's like, yeah, even before the sex allegations, we've got the murder allegations.
I mean, it's like, you know, Tupac thought that Diddy set him up the first time he got shot. Then as Lucy did the second time he got shot. Then you look at the whole Biggie situation. Biggie was in the car that was in front of Diddy that got shot up when he got killed. So there's a whole situation there. And everyone who's been involved with Bad Boy, with outside of maybe 2 or 3 people, literally almost all of them dead or in jail. And that's not even like a rib. It's like Black Rob's dead. What's that? Craig Mack is dead. There's another dude who's dead. Obviously Biggie. This is obviously a big one. He's dead. G Depp is in jail. Loon, I think, was in jail the last time that I heard from him. Shine got 10 years for taking the fall for the whole J-Lo P. Diddy nightclub incident back in like 99.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. Wow, that was one that got like really swept under the rug really fast.
Oh yeah,
or not? Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of stuff going on with Diddy, from him being a violent psychopath to him being a sexual deviant to him being closeted homosexual, all pedophile. Everything's going on with him, and now he's somewhere in Bora Bora hiding out from Homeland Security. Right?
Like actually fled the country. That's the part where I was like, oh, so he's guilty. Like he definitely did that. Like we're never gonna see him again. Like he went to go hang out with Tupac down in like Haiti, right? Or maybe not Haiti, because Haiti is currently not a place.
He went to go hang out with Barbecue down in Haiti, you mean?
Barbecue!
You're gonna need Barbecue to protect him at this point.
Speaking of getting barbecued, though.
Speaking of getting barbecued, what do we got?
We got Kotaku. And they went full barbecue. They went full flame broiled.
Oh, it's so flame broiled, and we were so close. But this story is great, and then it takes a dip, but I'm gonna tell you guys, like, the dip is not something to worry about. So obviously,
buy the dip.
Apes together strong. Hold, guys, we've got this. Hold, total the line. But yeah, as a lot of you guys have been pointing out in the chat, obviously, as you saw from Cider's intro, or from his thumbnail, and from my my intro, obviously the Sweet Baby Inc. discourse is heating up. It's going insane. Everybody is taking sides. We've obviously talked about Homeland Security getting in on the game, and it's just sort of blown up since then, to the point where we've got just everybody. We've got, I'm sure it'll be like the next story we talk, but we've got like BBC presenters calling for final purges of people, right? Like this stuff. And again, I want to point out that all of this rhetoric isn't coming from, quote, our side. Right? It is coming from the game devs, from the Kotaku writers.
It's coming from the tolerance and love side.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really is, right? We're all for inclusion, except get out. I don't want, if you like boobies, I don't want you anywhere near me. So obviously one of the spearheads of not just this current moment, but sort of the reason video game discourse, is dragged down to where it is right now, why video game writing is so bad, why companies like Sweet Baby Inc. have jobs or are wanted in the industry. Kotaku, we all know them, we all hate them. They run the worst news pieces that are barely ever news pieces. What I mean, just off the
They
top of
made
my head,
Nintendo mad.
I know
Really
that's what,
hard to do.
that's what I was gonna bring up. That's like my favorite possible story is, or okay, wait, are you talking Smash or Zelda?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm talking about when they got banned from being able to attend any Nintendo news conferences. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So there's two, because yeah, I have that one. That one was when they straight up were just like, "Oh, look, Tears of the Kingdom runs on an emulator.
Right.
Here's how you can play it right now." And it was like a week before the launch date, and so Nintendo went, "No, we don't want like anything to do with you. You're not getting review codes. You're not coming to our events anymore." And then remember, like after that, there was one of the here. I'm gonna pull it up because it's like a banger tweet. But one of the writers for Kotaku, I guess he was assigned to get or he was going to get Tears of the Kingdom if that's what they did. He obviously didn't get the review code, so he shot back with this like incredible is the right word, but not in like an incredibly good way.
Right. It's awe-inspiring in the way that a collapsing building is.
Right, like it's like dictionary definition of like, wow, I can't believe this.
Yeah, the Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, after Nintendo like said we're not giving anything to Kotaku, this is what Luke Plinkett, who's like their key reporter, right, Cider? He goes, "For the record, this is how I feel about publisher blacklist," and shares a photo of a Spitfire ace like with German and Japanese like kill counts on the side of his plane. Are you insane? Like again, like Cider said, the diversity and tolerance and inclusion party.
These are the
here.
same people that go nuts about Oppenheimer not showing the Japanese response to being nuked twice. Okay, oh man,
it's not a real story. How could you be so what is it, like Euro male centric or whatever word they want to use this week? But my favorite one, so that's the Zelda one. My favorite one was when Joker from Persona got added to Smash, and they added the Persona theme song. And there's like a line where it's like, "You'll never see it coming." That the singer's like, "You'll never see it coming." It's like a very jazzy pop sort of song. Yep. And Kotaku went, "Oh my gosh, did Nintendo include the words like you're retarded in a song? This is ableist. This is blah 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 blah." And Nintendo was just like, shut up. Like, just be quiet. Like I don't even have an answer for you.
It's funny though that the best reply, literally the best answer to that tweet from Luke Plunkett at Kotaku was actually made by Hideki Kamiya like 10 years ago, when he went like, "Luke Plunkett, do you eat shit?" And it's quite literally that's always been the logo, I suppose, for Kotaku as a whole, right? So it's always been like, no, you get shit from one of the developers or one of the real ones, and you know that your website is absolute crap.
Well, that reminds me, and yes, eccentric. I know I sounded like Miley. Did you think I can, do a cover band? Give me some extra cash on the weekends?
Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, is this before I went into the Disney like dome of degeneracy, or is this after? But yeah, no, that Luke Plinkett one that you're talking about, Josh, it reminds me of another one where, and this is like, I really miss this about sort of like that. This was like an era of video games we'll never get back, sort of that rebellious era before all the quote unquote normies came in and tried to make it theirs, right? There's this game called Dragon Crown that's made by Vanillaware, and it's a 2D brawler, a fantasy brawler where you can pick like a mage, a warrior, a barbarian, yada yada yada. And in the game, the warrior class is a giant like Amazonian woman with big muscles and big bazongas and skimpy outfit, and everybody loved her when she came out, sort of like everybody did with Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil 8. Big sexy lady, of course we like it, we want to see more of this. Jason Schreier, one of the most infamous Kotaku reporters of all time, the guy who sat on all the Blizzard allegations until he could benefit from it, he wrote a criticism he wrote an article that's like, "Wow, it looks like Dragon's Crown female characters are designed by 14-year-old boys. Is this really the like representation we want in our industry like anymore.
Yes,
and
it is.
But the Japanese designer, he drew a new illustration featuring like 3 dwarves from the game who are all like big barrel-chested like Zangief muscle men, and they're all like oiled and like posing next to each other. And the artist is like, I heard we got some complaints about the art direction from one Mr. Jason Schreier. To make him feel better, I provided art in the style that he would probably prefer. And I was just like, damn, like that's so good. Why can't we go back to doing that? Like it was the best. Like just stop letting these ideologues.
I found it. I have
You
it right
found it?
here. I found that
Yes.
very picture. Hold on, I gotta make it big enough that I don't know if we want to, but you know, here we are. And
Here we are.
okay.
So yeah, these are
brace
this is
yourself.
the official game, and then this is what the designer shot back
Yeah.
to make fun of Schreier.
It's that is a lot
It-
of masculinity right there.
But like that's he literally just like he did the Ugandan like television thing. Like I ask my guest, why are you gay? Like
Why
he
are you
just
gay?
did-
Yep.
and it's so fantastic. And I miss this era where creators could go, hey, shut up, like I don't really want to listen to you, instead of going, oh sweet baby, come help us, blah 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 blah, right? Like this is like just a very quick tangent because I was thinking about it today. Why do they care about women's bodies? Is it because they want to be those women? One, yes, but two, and this is something that obviously I don't have like supporting evidence in front of me, but it's all anecdotal. We all see it. It's because the way the space has been co-opted, it's by all those people who are in arrested development. You know, we talk about this all the time, who can't get over their own personal issues. And a lot of times that reflects in self-esteem, in, you know, how attractive you feel, yada, yada, yada. And so to them, remember, it's not about self-improvement. It's about bringing everybody else down to the same level so that you don't have to put any effort in and you can be validated for who you are, right? Like when I watch superhero movies, yes, I recognize that those dudes are way more buff than me, but I also don't go, oh gosh, we shouldn't have that because, you know, I feel bad about the burger I had earlier today. I just go, okay, yeah, I could probably put in some work. Maybe not as much work as that, because we all know what happened to Kumail Nanjiani. Remember, he like got super buff for Eternals and then they didn't use him at all. He was in like 5 minutes of the movie and it made him all depressed.
But there's
but yeah,
always
like,
this. This one right here is this is Barbie. Throughout the years, she has been the center of much controversy because feminist claims she represents an unrealistic, unhealthy, and unfair standard of beauty, leading to a crisis for young girls and their self-esteem. And this is He-Man.
He-Man. He's just He-Man. He's fantastic. He's rippling with muscles. He's got a sword. He looks good in a loincloth. I mean, come on. That's a very rare feat for a man to pull off these days. It's like him, Conan, and Tarzan. Again, all like, what is that? The Iron Age. That's not Iron Age. That's, I don't even know what era that, like pulp heroes, I guess is like the right word I'm looking for.
Guess.
Well-read comic says Cider should get an 80s rock wig, star glasses, and eagle feather earrings. I don't know why. I think it would complete the outfit, but then that's going to Aerosmith and not enough Ken. So you have to find that fine balance.
Cider Smith
You just had the perfect pun and not enough. You just didn't have to say not enough Ken.
Oh, you know what? It's because WB and James Gunn didn't send me my check this week, so I don't feel obligated to defend them like I normally do. But yeah, no, a lot of the body type stuff is they feel bad about what they see on screen, and instead of either accepting that it's fiction or striving to be better or making the changes, they go, you need to change for me. I don't care. Like we see it all the time. That's sort of the self-centered, narcissistic environment we found ourselves in. So unfortunately, like as much as I want to say it is with a lot based in the current like trans wave, a lot of it is just they're so insecure. They can't get they can't get over. Or go ahead, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah. So but the one thing though, and this is obviously I'm telling it as a bit of a joke, but it's also kind of true though. So if you can't really have like your female bodies, whatever, with the exaggerated body proportions and stuff like that, how else are you going to promote the body positivity movement that you want so much to promote? How else are you going to create your like feminist land whales.
Well, that's
Like
I
in
mean
video
that's
games. And it's like the same thing, right? So it's like, no, you can't really make your character fat. Like, no, now there's no exaggerated proportions, but it's the right proportions, I suppose, that they just want to censor. It's like, no, whatever makes you sexy, we don't want. But
right.
whatever
Well,
like
I
makes
mean,
us like our waist wider, no, we don't want that either.
like we will get into that, and oh, what was my point going to be to that? Because you said something really good there, and oh, it's that yeah, like you'll notice when we get to that actual guide. Remember, all these standards about like sexy depictions or whatever, they're never about men. It's never about us. It's only ever about don't make exaggerated women. They can go out and make He-Man characters all they want. They can go out and make Supermans, Batmans, whatever, but don't you dare show, don't make a woman feel bad. Don't make a female player feel bad by having a character that exists. Again, it's all of that like me. Everything has to center around me. And if it doesn't center around me, then I'm offended. And I feel that this is, again, instead of feeling like, oh, this isn't for me, they feel like they're being attacked. And that's where we got to these days. But in light of all that, it does seem, we've talked a little bit over the past couple, probably 6 months or so, that while it's not enough to say that a change has happened, there is a changing in the winds, in the tide in the entertainment industry, right? We're starting to see more projects that are, embracing sort of like
we're starting to see more Sydney Sweeney.
That's literally what I was going in my head. I was like, we're seeing more, we're going for more rom-coms with a certain actress, and then another certain actress is popping up everywhere and popping out everywhere. So yeah, like, and you started to see a lot more people just rejecting the outright combination of like woke rhetoric and like neoliberal lying. Like nobody likes Joe Biden at this point, right? Everybody can see through his lies. So there is some wave of change happening. It's not enough to go, the evil is defeated, we've won, let's go back home and celebrate, but it's definitely enough to go like, okay, we're making some leeway. And as part of that leeway, last week we got an insane development over at Kotaku, which was out of nowhere. Their editor-in-chief decided that she was going to resign. So last Wednesday, she offered her resignation. She said, I'm out of here. And in the aftermath, it was revealed that the reason that she decided she wanted to resign was because Kotaku's ownership, Geo Media, or at the time, they had said, okay, we want to pivot the site away from news to guides. And not like full-blown strategy guides like we used to get on GameFAQs, but the sort of like how to level up in Elden Ring, right? Like the very easy Google search result sort of guides. So that's why she quit, because she's like, I have journalistic integrity, blah, blah, right? I mean, I'm just going from what she's saying. I'm not. Here at Bounding Into Comics, we do not endorse any statements made by any staff member at Kotaku regarding their work. But yeah, so that was what was going on. It was this big disaster. It really did seem like it signaled the end of Kotaku's, I don't even want to call it like engagement farming. It's like outrage baiting, lying half the time, just whatever they are, their activism, I guess, is really the best way to put it, because they don't come at anything from a point of news. It's all from a point of activism. It's been going around on Twitter these past couple days because of everything that's going on, but go read Kotaku's review for Tears of the Kingdom, where they conclude it with, yeah, this is a good game, but it's about reinforcing the status quo, and that, in a world where capitalism is destroying the planet and white supremacy is raising. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Nobody asked about, like, that joke people always make about, oh, I wanted to go get a recipe, but the lady who put the recipe up put an essay about her freaking life and why she quit her job as a marketer right? Yeah. It's the exact same thing, but in reverse. They throw it in at the end, and it's all just whining about the most like,
it's the equivalent of like the homeless guy who like starts screaming on the public bus, then everyone has to like sit there and pretend like he doesn't hear him, so he doesn't make eye contact with him.
And then it's even worse than that, though, because then we also have to pretend that like that guy is like the mayor of New York City, right? Because we have to listen to his decisions, and he has input on everything we do for some reason. And it's like, why? He's clearly unfit for work. But yeah, we got close. That was the edict that came down on Wednesday. By Friday, unfortunately, we got an update from everybody's favorite Kotaku writer, Alyssa Mercanti, that the Kotaku staff had a meeting with leadership, and apparently they were not going to pivot fully over to guides, and so they were going to keep producing news. So that's where the lay of the land sort of is right now. And while it seems that, Kotaku avoided, dying off, it's like, honestly, guys, it's just for now. There's absolutely no way that site can keep going, especially with what they're pulling now. With all this pressure that's coming out with Sweet Baby Inc. and all of the the rebuttals being put out to every single work or like every single piece they put out, everybody, even the mainstream people, are wising up to Kotaku's game, especially in recent days. Alyssa Mercanti has clearly gone from, I want to like a video game reporter, to an ideologue, like
a dick.
Yeah, like a dick is pretty much the right way to put it.
Here's a great example.
Which one are you great? Yeah. So this is Alyssa going, sharing a picture of Mark Kern, who we all probably know, at Grums on Twitter. He was a World of Warcraft senior developer. He's very active in video game discourse, going, the man leading the crusade to make all women in video games hot to his personal standards, and the one making fun of how I look, presented without comment. Again, this is just really the proof that it's all about teenage sniping with them. That's, for example, like Alyssa is probably the best example of this, because she put out her Kotaku hit piece, her Cabrutus hit piece, like the Sweet Baby Ink Detected hit piece a couple weeks ago. Yeah, go.
I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but
no, interrupt. That's why you're here.
Right, yeah, but that's the thing, though, because and I know this is stupid, whatever. Like, everybody listening is going to be like, "Oh, wait, why is he in, part of the group or whatever?" You say hit piece, and I just heard Kotaku herpes, and I was like, yes, that is the best way to describe the word.
Kotaku herpes.
Just do SPVs, Kotaku herpes instead of hit piece. Right, let's just do herpes.
I feel like herpes has probably had a net benefit on the world compared to Kotaku, because at least with the study of herpes, people had to find cures and do actual work in science, and people can
actually cure it.
right. And so far, we can't get rid of Kotaku no matter what we do.
There's no treatment for Kotaku.
It just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. How do we get rid of you? But yeah, like Alyssa really encapsulates the high school motivations that are behind all of these sort of woke schooled websites, right? She publishes her Sweet Baby Ink Detected piece, completely frames it as, gamers want, everybody gone, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, that's really not what it is. Even Cabrutus is saying, like, don't harass anybody, yada, yada, yada. In light of that, in response to the backlash she gets, instead of going, okay, well, I'm going to just keep doing my work, I'm going to keep reporting on video games, she's actively out here farming for hit piece information, right? Like, her two specific victims, or targets is probably a better term, so far have been Melanie Mack and Asmongold. She's put out public calls to, if anybody knew them, if anybody wants to talk about them, my inbox is open. I'm looking up a piece, and it's like, you're really only just trying to swing at your opponents. There's no substance to any of your arguments anymore. So now you're going to try and take pathetic swings at other YouTubers. And like, guys, I will be completely honest here. I am not the biggest fan of either Asmongold or Melanie Mack. Like, I don't watch their content. I don't follow them on social media. I generally just ignore them. But I can still recognize when Alyssa is throwing a tantrum because she's not getting her way and attacking people just because they disagree with her. And that's literally what this is. I guarantee you, had, Cider or me or Jacob or Josh or WDW Pro or whomever had a bigger profile, we definitely would have Alyssa, coming for blood, hunting in the waters, because that's the only way they can win at this point. They can't defend their arguments because it's all crap. So they go, oh, I'm going to discredit you. You're going to go down. I'm going to, take down the speaker. And it's like, I don't really know if you can take down either of those speakers, because it's not like they're ashamed of how they handle themselves online. But essentially, hopefully Kotaku goes down, because like I'm slightly torn on this because on one hand, and hear me out here, guys, because it's very nuanced. On one hand, I want them gone. I don't think they contribute anything to gaming press. They've done nothing but sow discord, ferment fighting. But at the same time, as somebody who works in the online journalism sphere, in running a website, it does suck to have somebody go, okay, make these really shitty articles. There's no motivation, even if it was a game like I loved, like say, I don't even know. I haven't played anything in a long time. Mega Man X, and it was like, how to find all the armor pieces in Mega Man X. That's still not satisfying work. You know what I mean? Like it's just, it sucks. And so I get the reticence to jump over like that. I saw a lot of arguments that were like, oh, if you're a gamer, why wouldn't you want to write guides? Like that seems like fun. And it's like, it's not as fun as you guys think. It's really, really not that cool. It's not like making a video essay. It's very, very boring and very, very just like soul eating. So on that end, I absolutely am like, I get why you wouldn't want to do it. And that does suck. But I'm also like, you guys kind of did this to yourself. You offered nothing else but insults. And now now they want to the owners want to make you a video game site. It sucks, but you didn't really do anything.
Well, and here's a kicker about this. What's that, Jacob?
No, I think I mentioned this either like last night or the previous night before. It's like it's the old meme of you think that you hate journalists, but you don't actually hate them as much as you probably should. It's like that whole because these people are so woefully unqualified for the positions that they have. You have to ask yourself, how did they get these positions in the first place? And then, like I said, places like Kotaku, who clearly don't have the greatest hiring standards, as we've seen here. This is where we get, and then you wonder why. It's not just Kotaku. Kotaku is basically just like a small, microscope of a much larger problem. Like if they're acting like this in Kotaku, imagine what they were acting like in the Washington Post or the New York Times, all the other bigger news outlets, where you think that, oh, well, at least they have higher standards. Like, no, they're hiring the exact same people. They just have a much more trusted name because they're essentially jumping on an established name and established brand, but it's the same group of people.
Right. I mean, like, how often do you see? I see that so often nowadays, and I even find myself falling into that trap where it's like, oh, that's from the New York Times. They're respectable, like they do good work. But it's like, oh, my image of them is at least like 20 years out of date, and it's also like a very kids, teenagers' interpretation of it because that's just what was ingrained in my head. But nowadays, they're all the worst. Wasn't it the Washington Post who did the bloodbath clipping? Wasn't it a reporter from them from the Trump rally? Where he was like, if I don't get elected, there's going to be a bloodbath, and he was talking about the industry,
automotive.
Like we're gonna lose a lot of jobs. Yeah,
Yes.
and that's literally what he was talking about. And a Washington Post reporter clipped it and goes, "Trump promises a bloodbath if he doesn't win," and it's like, you're a liar. Like how can you in good faith even post that when in 2 seconds somebody who was there will be able to go, no, you're wrong. I don't understand.
Video on Twitter was right there to show them wrong. A complete context of his statement. Yes. Yeah, it was right there. It was beautiful.
I will absolutely never understand that.
There's two things we gotta like take away from this. Okay, so like somehow the Game Grumps, Oni Plays, Vanoss Gaming, Terrorizer, these guys can play video games every single day. Okay, and they're never the same game.
Yeah.
If they do, it's a part of a series and they're done with it forever.
Right.
They're not speed running something into infinitum. They're not a specialist in one video game. They just screw around, okay? So this is the thing, is that if these guys can make a decades-long career now out of it, at least for the Game Grumps thing, they're coming up on 20 years of doing this. So, yeah, 15 years they've been doing this. It's nuts. So they could do this. I don't think it's impossible for Kotaku to put out 50 guides a week by going to the indie section of Steam and downloading the most ridiculous things they can find and then running that through ChatGPT if they can't think of anything to say. It's not that hard to do those guides. If you want to sit there and be like, man, I gotta do a guide on the whole Mega Man series this week. No, it's not happening. It is not happening. But if you're like, I'm going to do Deer Simulator on Monday,
Right.
and then I'm going to cover the first Mega Man game 6 levels, then I'm going to play, Deer Hunter. I'll do a deer themed game intermingled with your other ones. You can get your 50 done that way.
Oh yeah.
But these guys, they weren't
go
hired.
ahead. No, keep going.
This is the thing: is they weren't. Alyssa did not run the ship the way that a news agency does. She ran it the way a political office, recruitment office does. They go out there, they produce propaganda to support whatever angle is best for their political ideas. That's it. That's why the Nintendo thing, that's why this guy goes and posts this thing and thinks, yeah, I'm so cool putting up this thing,
This isn't racist at all. It's like, okay, we all know what you're doing.
and the second point I want to make about this is, like, I'm sorry, white women, you need to get out of the butt game. Let the POCs have something, okay? Just get out of the butt game, all right? Alyssa is clearly proud of her butt. Of all the pictures she could have chosen to show how she looks after Kotaku, how good she's doing, she chooses the one where, like, her butt's, like, mildly okay in these painted on pants.
There's a lot of Miami plastic surgeons who are making more than Bitcoin right now.
Right. Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
No, I mean, but isn't that sort of also the hypocrisy we see in it, right? Like, here's Alyssa using 2 photos where she thinks, like, I presume, right, she finds herself attractive, that she likes, but we're not allowed to, video game characters aren't allowed to look barely attractive. Like, you can't even have a 4 or a 5 in a video game now. They all have to be 2s. The one I remember is, or the thing that just popped to my mind is, do you guys remember there was that ad campaign from Dove at, like, the end of last year where it had, like, it was like this really dumb ad campaign where it showed, like, this video game heroine and she was, like, fighting and she looked all sexy and she had, like, armor, and then she got back to her dressing room and she plopped out and she was, like, really overweight and didn't want to do anything and couldn't fit into her clothes. And then when call goes back for her to get back to the game, she goes, okay, I'm just gonna stay like this. And it's like body positivity for everybody, and it's like, but what, like, why do they it almost feels like, what is the right word here, like it's a trap, like okay, stick with me here. It feels like a catty trap where it's like, oh yeah, you be fat or ugly or whatever, and we support you. Like, that's good. Embrace that. Don't change yourself. Meanwhile, you've got women like Alyssa who at least have some level of physical attractiveness. Like, do they get to just, like, steamroll in? Like, it's so weird to me. It's bizarre. I don't know. Maybe it's a very gender thing.
Simpomania is running wild.
It's not even Simpomania. It's like it's like female competition. Like it's cattiness to the extreme where it's literally just like, you look good. I don't want you to look better than me. I'm gonna, instead of just calling you ugly to your face, I'm gonna go through this entire, like,
no, dude. I gotta tell you, I used to work with this guy. His girlfriend got mad. His girlfriend got mad at him because he liked the yellow Power Ranger in Power Rangers RPM. She got insanely jealous because he would go, yeah, Yellow Ranger's kind of hot. That's it. That's all he would do. He didn't, like, whisper her name and, like, he was sleeping. Right. He wasn't, like, practicing a morphing call or anything to try and, get her attention, or something.
Or anything.
Yeah, no, it was just like, she's kind of hot. That's it. And that was it. And this woman, like, came unglued, banned him from watching all of Power Rangers. Yes, because she was so fragile over this. Yes, absolutely. But I wanted to save this for the Microsoft conversation, but that's what it is. They can't even stand a fake woman being prettier than them. That's how fragile these freakos like Alyssa is. So we got Leslie Tarkin here. She's never felt threatened by ads.
Leslie!
She's in here talking about, like, this has never been a problem for me. I don't look at these characters and say, I have to destroy them because I'm competing with them. And that, what do we call that, maturity?
Right. Like, that's the being an adult, right? And that goes back to what I say. Like, they're all stuck in high school. They never got over whatever hang up happened in their past, and you can see it just in how they act.
When did the Tomb Raider reboot release? Because I remember, I didn't actually play it when it came out,
month?
But it was When was that?
You mean like the first, like the reboot series, like the Square Enix ones?
Yeah, when it actually started
that was
playing,
like
like
20,
like Uncharted,
like
like it was
12,
actually copying the
2011, I think,
copy.
sometime around there. Yeah.
Yeah, right, around that, right. So, and back then because I actually got the game.
It was
the first game,
2013.
and
Okay. That was
2013,
close.
yeah. So it was 11 years, whatever, right? So it's just way before 2016, way before the whole thing, the woke virus actually became like a thing. But even back then, you could see it, right? So they made her a little bit more, physically like different. Like she didn't look like the Tomb Raider, like the I forget the name right now. I'm blanking on the name.
Laura,
Whatever.
like Laura Croft.
Yeah,
Angelina
Laura
Jolie.
Croft. Yeah. Right, and but the body proportions obviously were no longer exaggerated.
Yes.
And
Yeah, right.
there was also because I really did play the
She
game.
looks so
Look,
cool.
she is an attractive woman but right. So before that and in the reboot as well. But they were all that was also the a little bit of queer baiting in the game, and I was like,
there's
I don't
a
know.
lot in the Tomb
20
Raider reboots. There's a lot of queer baiting.
2013, yeah. I didn't play it much. I played it for like 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever. Right? So I actually kind of got bored because it was like trying to copy Uncharted, and Uncharted was actually better, even though that was a copy, the original copy. And so, yeah, there you go. That all the Lara Crofts, still an attractive woman, but let's just see what the next reboot does with the character. Now that it's just like, oh my gosh, we can't.
Oh man, if Laura gets rebooted again, we're getting like Larry Croft. We're getting a black Lara Croft, like Lauren Croft. I have no idea, but there's no way we're not getting classic Laura. Even though she was like well received with the remasters, we're never gonna see her again. And that I love that you bring that up, Josh, because like I know a lot of girls who played video games growing up. Obviously, I wouldn't say they were like in the same sphere as we all are, where we, dove into all the lore. And that's not saying there aren't girls like that. This is not the ones I know, but all the ones I knew, they played video games, they played Tomb Raider, and they went, I like Lara Croft because she's sexy, she's badass. It was like aspirational to them. It was cool. And nowadays that's bad. Or like it's such a divide, and that's how you can sort of see how disingenuous it all is, because you still have players going, oh yeah, she's sexy, like bring back that old Laura, she's the best. But then you also have like I don't know, it's just, what were you gonna say, Josh?
Yeah, I don't know, but so one thing you just kind of said, it just reminded me of one thing. So yes, I know, but I was watching one of Ben Shapiro's videos like early today, and he was reacting to TikTok videos and stuff like that. And at one point, there was like this TikTok video of this girl asking random people on the street, all right, so name one celebrity who has like a sex video. And everybody knew one. And then the same girl asked, the same people she was interviewing, all right, now name somebody who's got a good influence for your kids. Nobody could say anything, right? And Ben Shapiro's conclusion was, well, it's because this society right now is not really like lifting up role models. It's like frowned upon. It's just we're just not really highlighting the all of the that thing. I forget.
Aspirational qualities of
humanity.
Thank you.
There's no strength anymore, because I mean we've gotten ourselves into that space where like victim culture runs wild. Like nowadays, being a victim is better than anything else. There's that joke. I know you know this, Josh, but there was an episode of South Park where Kyle is like, I feel like I need to like refresh my personality. People don't really like me.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to like an image.
It's the Prince Harvey episode, right? So we need to create a new persona.
It's like
thing, right? So
right. And so the guy goes to Kyle's like, okay, help me with the new personality. And the guy's like, okay, all right, what about this? Like these qualities. What about, and it's like creative, smart, caring, victim. And Kyle's like, oh, I don't really know about victim. He's like, okay, hold on, let me try again. Multi-millionaire, celebrity actor, like going down in history books, victim. And Kyle's like, that's not me. And then the guy's like, okay, you need to list, like, I'm trying to help you be popular in today's society, so we're going to have to leave that in. And it's just like perfect, like absolutely perfect. And so now when people praise and elevate the people who are victims, that sort of reinforces like, why should I try? Why should I push forward when all the accolades go to me if I just suffer. And so now everybody wants to suffer. Nobody really wants to push forward.
It's
and
more
make
profitable
to
be a victim because then you can go on GoFundMe and be like, "Here, donate
100%.
I'm such a victim."
You can
Well,
you get the GoFundMe money, and you also get the clout of like, oh, why are you disagreeing with me? You must hate X victim, Y victim, Z victims.
It's not a GoFundMe, but we do have a super chat here that helps us keep the lights on at Bounding into Comments.
Yes, we have a $5 super chat from our good friend Pear. He says, it's time to say goodbye to all my Bounding friends. Gotta go, guys. Catch you on the replay. Hey, man, I'm glad you got to stop by for at least a little bit. It was a joy to have you, and we thank you for the $5. Like Snyder said, it helps keep the lights on here. It helps us keep Josh inebriated for these streams. No, I'm kidding. We don't use it for that. But yeah, thank you so much.
He pays that out of pocket.
Yeah, we actually, he pays us. He pays us a stipend.
Wait, what?
Yeah, see?
Ta-da, no, we were just saying you use your per diem on booze. That's all.
Yeah.
But yes, thank you, Perry. You're the best. We aim to please. DZ, before we go to the next topic, DZ3 brought up a good point here too. No, they are uplifting the wrong type of role models. That one I also noticed. And it's true because, I mean, aside from just role model victims, you're getting role models who are clearly unwell, clearly broken, clearly promoting just like the wrong type of things. Dylan Mulvaney, like that's one who's being promoted to all get out, like way too much. Like that Dylan feels like a genuine psyop, right? But that's the one that always gets elevated. Meanwhile, Josh is our like Hollywood reporter. He has to like scour for stories about somebody doing something positive, and not even in like a religious sense, right? I mean, like this person did a charity. This person, likes Hollywood.
So on that same topic, right? So it's been going on for years, but whenever I try to find like uplifting topics, I always know where to go. And the only articles like I've written about, people doing actual, just like positive things and all that stuff, it's always Gary Sinise.
And I'm like, the rules.
Yes, it's always like I'm not really.
And Keanu, that's a good point.
Right, so but it's always him, and it's like there's nobody else, unless it's like, oh, Chris Pratt did the salute to the flag or whatever, right, like for Memorial Day, and it's like he's getting hate, not not the positive article that you want to write, but it's still part of the whole thing because that is frowned upon, and that is the problem. Right, so it's like no. You salute the flag. You respect your the elders, and you also like respect the veterans and all that stuff. But no, in Joe Biden's America, you just don't do that.
Oh man, I mean, it's not even Joe Biden's America, and I'm not even putting it on like a president.
No,
like,
I know. I'm just joking.
It happened during like Trump too, right? Like I'm just saying, like it's it's not recent. Like this is what we've all been suffering through for like 2 decades now. Like it sucks, and you are completely on point. Like you're not wrong, but like we need more Gary Sinise. I always forget how to say his like last name, but like that's sort of one of the big differences you can see between the two camps of celebrities wanting to do something positive. Where Sinise, for those who don't know, every year he hosts he helps like run and donate to or you know it better, Josh. What is it it's like a veterans charity, right, for Christmas?
Yeah, right. It's actually his own foundation. It's the Gary Sinise
That's right.
Foundation, or the Lieutenant Dan, I think he actually calls it.
I think it's
because they fondly call him the Lieutenant Dan, right? He actually he always plays on the final day.
But he wasn't a real paraplegic. That's not right. Why are we being so heteronormative?
That's the kind of criticism that he would probably get, That's so sad. It's like, no, bro, just look at everything he's doing. Up. And look, and the one thing
rolling.
Well, and the one thing I actually can't disagree with him on that is that he always takes and he always does the event like the final day or like the final 2 or whatever days of the event. He actually takes, the widow or the or the children to Disneyland, and it's taking them to Disney. It's like the one thing I'd actually kind of disagree with, but at the same time, it's like it's not really seeing politics. It's just like saying, right. He's not seeing
It's
it
like we're
all
doing this
gassy
for the
like,
kids. The kids don't know.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like
exactly. So it's still with good intentions and all that stuff, but he takes them to Disney, and that's the one thing I actually disagree with the thing. And it's not like I say,
but,
well, we
but you're
shouldn't
like
do it.
disagreeing. You're
I'm
disagreeing
not
more with
saying we
like
shouldn't do it.
where he's going. Like, imagine if it was like instead of Disney, we're going to Six Flags. You would be like completely
Yeah,
fine, totally in. So
right.
like that's
Yeah,
the thing. It's like the act is
yeah,
good. It's just
yeah. The
where
accent.
we're ending up. But like we need more
Yeah,
more of him because he does it every year. He doesn't do it for publicity. He does it because he cares. And every other week we have some liberal celebrity coming out going, I did this, I did that, I'm the
Pay
greatest.
attention to me.
Right, exactly. And it's just like fake.
Well,
Harry Potter world's so cool.
I'm constantly told that I should market the Colossals with all the bad things that
Yes,
have happened
you
to me,
should.
but I don't like to do that. I'd rather have the quality of what I've created here and the characters within speak to the product rather than, ow, all the boo-boos that happened to me. My lifetime movie
Right.
of a life, that sells this. Because I don't want to be the miracle on Cider Street. I don't want to do that. My end goal, what I determined to be successful, and I hope that other people will realize this eventually themselves, is I want to be an old man on a park bench and a little kid runs up to me and says, "Hey, mister, have you heard about my favorite superhero?" Hold on, I'll get the book in just a second. Star Supreme,
Star
the
Supreme,
center
yep.
character right here. Have you heard about my favorite hero, Star Supreme? And that's how I'll know I'm a success, when people, just some random kid wants to tell me about the hero I created so many years ago. That's it.
Right.
I don't need to be like some god of literature worshipped for all the horrible things I lived through to get to putting out that book, So
Because then it's like, I feel like it would bring up like that imposter syndrome question of like, oh, do you really like my work or do you like supporting me because you can pat yourself on the back? Like, do you actually like me or do you actually like what I represent? And yeah, no, I'm 100% there with you, Cider. Like, put your work out. Go, this is my work. I'm selling my work. If you want to tell your story, go, have some interviews, write a biography, fine. But don't be like, you should buy my book because sad thing happened in my life. Because I've never seen a product that's like a good that comes out of that. Otherwise, we just get things like The Color Purple or
The Final Purge.
Or The Final Purge. Yeah, exactly. So on that topic of all of this insane Sweet Baby Inc. News, yeah, again, sort of like what we talked about at the beginning, it is the other side who is escalating these things to just like ridiculous ass levels. Like I have no other word for it. Like it's ridiculous ass levels. So earlier this week, there was an individual who tried to, all right, now I need to step one step further back. There's one more piece of context I need for the story. So like Sweet Baby Inc., there's a company called Black Girl Gamers. They essentially do the exact same thing where yeah, exactly. Right, Jacob? They offer consulting, like diversity consulting, diversity consulting. They partner with like other companies to promote diversity, yada, yada, yada. If you guys, that is who Black Girl Gamers is. I also want to point out, in case you guys don't remember, from like 2 years ago, there was and I totally forget her name. We wrote a bunch of articles here. I can probably pull it up just by searching Black Girl Gamers, but there was a streamer named, no way. Is it too far back? Anyway. Okay, yeah. Do you guys all remember Zombie Kills? She was this black female streamer who a couple years ago, about 4 years ago now, actually, she, went on this whole tirade about, oh, I'm being harassed. I'm being, attacked for being a black woman. Oh, PlayStation, can you help me out? Oh, Xbox, can you help me out? And because somebody had disagreed with her and I'll tell you what they disagreed with in a second, because they disagreed with her, she started getting all this attention, all of this support. She got propped up by Twitch. She got propped up by PlayStation. She got a free PS5. And Black Girl Gamers was one of the biggest organizations to be like, you're behind us. Like yeah, black girls, woo, like, let's go. We're in support of you. So it eventually came out that Zombie Kills was the giantest piece of poop that you could possibly imagine. Like all the accusations that people in our camp get about, oh, you harass people. Oh, you're racist. Oh, you attack. Oh, you lie. It was all her. So like Black Girl, all that to say, Black Girl Gamers, it doesn't really have the best track record of throwing their support or sort of keeping up their public image. But the other day, so Black Girl Gamers, narrative consulting company, a random individual, a random Steam user said, hey, I'm going to create a list that says these are the games that Black Girl Gamers worked on. Very, very similar, obviously inspired by Kabrutus and his Sweet Baby Inc. Detected list. It was intended to do the exact same thing. Just if Black Girl Gamers worked on a game, we're going to list it right here. And in response to that tweet, Black Girl Gamers, tried to clap back at them, retweeted the guy's like announcement and went, oh, you're so pressed that we just exist. You don't even know what you're angry about. What's up? Oh, I thought somebody was interjecting. I heard like a click in my headphones.
No, that was probably just calling.
Oh, okay, no worries. But I've lost my spot. Oh yeah. So they go, oh yeah, you're so upset. Like, why are you so racist? Like, you're such a crybaby. Like, we're gonna keep doing our work. It's a really pathetic clapback, especially because they're trying. If you see the guy's original tweet, he just says, I'm making this group, and then they flip out and they try to make it into something it's not. Very, very classic tactic. But in response to that outburst from Black Girl Gamers, so BBC presenter Jules Hardy, she is the gaming presenter, I guess is an official term over at the BBC. You guys are all really weird over there, Josh. I don't understand a damn thing about how you operate, but she's hosted a bunch. Whatever. He knows. He says blimey.
He's complicit.
Yeah, exactly. He's complicit. That's exactly it. You get the sins of our fathers. Father, my papa. But yeah, so in response to the Black Girl Gamers tweet, this BBC presenter, she's been on like a couple game shows. The BBC used to have like a video game specific web show that she hosted. She was part of the Top Gear, had like a video game spin-off thing. I guess there's like 9 different like Top Gear series. I don't know how to follow them all anymore, but basically that's all to say she has a very prominent sort of presence, not only at the BBC, but in gaming in general. In 2021, she was the host of WitcherCon, which was Netflix's sort of like, oh, we're in COVID, we can't go do anything. Let's host a promo event for the upcoming season of The Witcher. And so she was like the face, the host of that. This presenter retweeted Black Girl Gamers and straight up said, let's see, I will pull it up here because I have it. And it is very important to read the full text at all times so that you guys always have context. So in response to Black Girl Gamers, Jules Hardy retweets them and says, can we agree that for round 2 of this, which is Gamergate, it can be the final purge of these kinds of gamers? It's 2024. I've been arguing about this for decades. Can we at least have a full detox of these dudes so we can get back to the positive gaming community we have been creating? So like, again, this is the sort of rhetoric like Cider and I were laughing about before that's coming from the equity, the inclusion. We want, everything to be safe for everybody. They're literally throwing out like the genocide terms, right? Like final purge. That's a little extreme. I've never heard anybody say, can I purge my customer base? Right? Like in all of our, like in all
you can just hear like the USSR national anthem playing in the background as they're making this speech.
Oh, dude, she's probably got like a copy of the Communist Manifesto sitting like right there on her desk the entire time she's doing this. I'm like absolutely positive. But yeah, like this is the escalation we've gotten to. And again, guys, remember, this was all just about people being informed on their purchases. Literally, that's all it was. Kabrutus made a list. It said, does Sweet Baby Inc. work on this game? Yes, no. Okay, where did I find, if yes, where's the citation? Oh, their own website. Oh, an interview, yada, yada, yada. Cool. That's all it was. And they've tried to turn it into this blacklisting, attack list, this campaign to kick out all minority gamers or whatever, right? Like it's the same stuff they've always rehashed, but this time it's not gonna really take. I mean, you see all the devs running out to defend them, but players don't want this shit anymore. Like players are tired of this. And again, like the list can't force you to do anything. the list exists, so you can go, okay, they're there. I know that now. Do I still want to buy the game? Do I not want to buy the game? Maybe you still will, right? Like, I don't know, but it's all insane how the like lengths they're going to sort of, I don't know. They for all, honestly, what it says to me is that all of their calls for, oh, all these people are just evil gatekeepers. They just want this to be their own exclusive club. They just want this, and that. It's all been projection. It's all what they want. They want it to be their special little club where nobody ever disagrees with them on absolutely anything. And as we've seen, like time and time again, like if we had like all the time in the world and we could sort of like simulate it out, I would love to sort of see like, okay, fine. All the gamers you want are gone. So here's your super positive, super inclusive, super diverse space. Have at it. And you know what would happen? They would eat themselves, because this shit it's purity testing. I know, like, Jacob, you've been talking about this a lot on the Bible lens with like Christianity, but every time somebody goes, oh, you're either with us or against us, eventually they'll find a reason for you to be against them. And in like this case of Kotaku, it's like, okay, yeah, you're on our side. You want inclusion. Oh, wait. You liked a video game? Like, you liked a fighting game that has a girl with like jiggly chest? I don't know about, I don't think you can, like, we don't want you here. We don't want anybody here who's ever engaged with any of those like products. And they would die out in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, we can't excise each other from the ecosystem. So all of this is really just posturing. It's not going, like, you can't purge a customer. I don't even know how you would even start doing that, short of looking up credit card receipts and like banning people wholesale by their name, by their social security cards, going to their doorsteps and breaking their Xboxes. I genuinely have no idea what you do here. Hey, go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to say, like, even though they're not like in costume, Wheaton and Jules here, well, no, they look like Game of Thrones cosplayers. They just, he looks like he dresses up like Jon Snow, and she looks like she dresses up as Cersei. They just look like cosplayers out of costume.
That's a really good observation.
I can't get it out of my head, you know?
I'm really glad I included that.
Will Wheaton just looks like a Mormon. Like, I know he's not.
True.
He just like looks.
He looks like a giant baby. Like, he looks like a giant baby, like a bot. Like, he's Boss Baby, right? But I knew, like, I went searching for pictures of Jules, and Jules Hardy interviews, and I found that one of her and Will Wheaton. And I know it's from like 2017, but I was like, it's Will. Like, it's Will. Like, of course he's here. Screw that guy. Like, I hate that guy. See, hey, it's me in HD says more like Samwell. I can see Sam as well, but I also see the John, especially with like the way the beard is on Wheaton. I don't know. He's just he's the worst. Hodor. I would have more respect. Emphasis on the door, because that's what everybody shows him on the way out. But yeah, this is sort of just where we are with this discourse. It's escalating every day. The people escalating it are not the people, quote unquote, in our camp. Like, always remember that. You have people in our camp coming out, like, go to Kabrutus's, like, go to the Steam page. Kabrutus has like multiple announcements saying, guys, do not do this. Do not harass. We will, be like, I hate the phrase, but be better, do better. He's even got like, last week there were a lot of leaks from various journalists who were trying to reach out to Sweet Baby Inc. detected members, supporters, yada yada, and just sort of get their insight. And a lot of the people who got interviewed leaked out their conversations, because they're like, I don't trust journalists, which is completely fair. Like, if I ever talk to you guys, like, I would not be offended if you went, no, I got to make sure everything is completely public, But in those in those messages, you had whatever reporter was reaching out, whether it's The Verge's Ash Parrish or Alyssa Mercante. They go, okay, you say that you're, not bigots or whatever, but when I go to your meme channel or I go to this channel, I see people using Nazi rhetoric or making, immigration jokes or yada, yada, yada. And the 2 points that they always fire back are like, one, we immediately stamp out anything that's like too insane, too like actually racist. Like, that's not what we stand for here. We clamp it out. And two, they're individual users. You can't look at the act of one person and ascribe it to everybody else, but that's their favorite tactic. You know what I mean? Like they will find one person who said one thing and go, all gamers do this. Don't you see? This is why we've got to destroy them. So I'm just tired of them.
Peas and carrots, peas and carrots.
Peas and carrots, hot shower. Just, yeah, it's insane. And again, these are the people who think they're the good guys, and they're clearly just not. Right?
Yeah.
Like
yeah, the Borderlands guy go nuts.
The Borderlands 3. This one is particularly insane because it's such a good example of somebody realizing nobody wants to hear what they have to say and then sort of trying to recover from that. And we've all seen it, right? Where somebody goes, yeah, it cope. That's exactly it, Cider. Like this one devolves into cope so insanely hard that it's so funny. So for those who don't know who this man is, Sam Winkler, he is a lead writer over at Gearbox Entertainment. He has worked on most of the Borderlands series. He worked on Borderlands 2 as a writer. He co-wrote 3, like co-lead writer, him and one other person. And then he was the lead writer for Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So, not the greatest writing record at all whatsoever. So, like, guys, Borderlands 3, for those who don't know, it is Reddit the game. Like, like you think MCU dialogue is bad? Like, jam that up to like 14 and break the dial, and that's where you get Borderlands. It's so bad. But so, as you guys may have seen, there's an argument that is regularly raised in this. I mean, it's a pretty common discussion. It's come up a lot in video games lately because of everything that's going on. But the idea that, what am I trying to say? Like diversity consultants for helping to write characters you don't know, not necessarily coming in and being like, hey, can you make this more DEI like appropriate, but saying, hey, I don't really know how to write like a black character from Atlanta. Jacob, could you like give me some pointers or something? That's, it's been a big argument. Some people agree that, a good writer can write whatever they like. They don't need that help. Some people go, oh yeah, you absolutely need that help. And obviously in our camp in recent weeks, there's been a lot of, you don't need diversity consultants per se. You can write characters of other skin and make them good characters. Now, what that argument is really based on is not necessarily that, oh, everybody can write from every experience, because that's just not true. Like, it's just impossible. No matter who you are, you're always going to have some sort of gap in your knowledge. Whether it's like right here, I would farm out to Jacob what it's like living in Atlanta. I would farm out to Josh what it's like riding motorcycles. I would farm out to Cider what it's like actually creating a comic book you can hold in your hand, because those are things I don't know. But the core of the argument is essentially you make a character, you write a character as a person. You don't write them as a token. If I'm going to write a black
or more
character,
like an avatar, really, right? Because it's like they try to represent themselves in the character, so it's not like that's basically what it is. I don't know. Right,
that's exactly it. They go ahead, Cider. Yeah.
No, I just need to say this because these guys want to make it sound more complicated than it is.
Yes,
they really do.
Yes.
Here's the key thing, and Stephen King was told this by his English college professor: write what you know, not what you don't. My superheroes are all in Maine. They all live regular Mainer lives. If they have jobs, they do. If they don't, they don't. But they are Mainers first. They're Americans first, because I know that. I know people in my daily life. I have a character who is black. Hypercussion, right here. He's behind Star Supreme right here. So Hypercussion, he's Star Supreme's adopted cousin. She's the one who's adopted into his family. And he's just a dude. He's a Mainer. He puts on his hiking boots. He's got to go out and do his work, his shit kickers, as we call him around here. Goes out and does his work. I was going to generation.
Do any of the Colossals ever get like snowed in out there?
Well, absolutely. Where Star Supreme lives, they get feet of snow at a time, and that's pretty normal. I have a first generation Japanese American right here with Razor, and he lives in Maine. His parents relocated to General Dynamics here in Maine to work his jobs here. And so I've based all of my characters in what I know. I don't try to go beyond what I know for sure. That way I don't sound like a jackass like this guy over here. Well, I don't know what it's like to live in Wakanda. So I need to like get some Wakandanese people in. Oh, well, I'll just get people from Atlanta to come in and tell me what it's like to live in Wakanda. No, just try to like imagine what Wakanda is and just go with it. If it sucks, it sucks, but come on.
But like the extrapolation from that isn't even like, oh, I'm asking, I want to write a character from Wakanda, but I'm making like a good character. They bring in these consultants. They say, go find these consultants because they can transform your character into whatever prop needs to be used for this current like social moment, right? They'll never admit it, but that's literally what happened with Alan Wake 2 and Sweet Baby. Saga Anderson, the second playable character in that game. 6 years before that game came out, there was a teaser like cutscene. Like it's not a trailer. It was like a little mini movie that they put out where Sam and Alan and Saga are investigating things. And Saga is a straight up, where are they from? They're like Dutch, I think, or there's some like Norwegian or Scandinavian country over there. But it's like a straight up Scandinavian, like blonde white woman. Kind of looks like what's the name, Josh, of the girl that we always talk about from Star Trek, from Into Darkness, the hot one, Alice Eve? Is that her? Is that her name?
Yeah, Alice. Yeah, Alice Eve.
Yeah. She like in that original trailer, she looked like Alice Eve. You get to the actual release, she's a straight up like Black American woman.
She's like, right. She's been playing by Anne Boleyn from Netflix.
Oh, is that actually her?
No. I'm just joking.
See, I only ask because
I don't know.
Like, at this point, I legitimately would not be surprised. Like, for example, like this is going to be like a slight like 2-second tangent, but like Deborah Wilson, they throw her ass in everything, like regardless of what it is. So I could have easily believed that the Anne Boleyn actress who's in The Acolyte was the like facial model.
I was just joking, but when she brought it up, I was like, wait, hold on, is she
like? Is it maybe her? Is that actually her?
Maybe it's her. I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, essentially, or what was I going to? Yeah, they don't. These consultants don't want to help you write better characters. They want to help you like turn it into a piece of propaganda. Like for example,
socio-political engineering.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. The engine. That's always like such a good term, engineering, and for some reason it always like drops out of my head when we have these conversations. But that's literally what it is. Yeah, no, I'm sure it is. Like, I'm not saying you are not immune to propaganda, right? Like, I'm fully aware. But yeah, like with your Asian American character, normally you would go, somebody might go, hey, I'm a diversity consultant or whatever, or like, let me rephrase that because that didn't exist back in like the early 2000s. I'm a sensitivity reader, or I can provide some background. Oh, this is a great character. Maybe instead of moving from this college over in Japan, right, Cider, maybe they can come from this college just because it might make like a little more sense. And you can go, oh, okay, I see how that works a little better. You're not turning him into, I was a victim of the bombings and now I have to anti-American campaign everywhere and talk about how it's not equitable in Japan because immigrants aren't allowed, like whatever, which is what they want to do. So Sam Winkler, in throwing his hat into the ring in all the Sweet Baby discourse, he retweets an individual, a screenshot of something they said, where they said, quote, a good narrative writer of any skin color can write a good character with another skin color without needing consultants. If your studio can't do that, get a better writer. And I think, that's sort of all what we've been agreeing here between me and Jacob and Cider, Josh, like that's pretty on point. Obviously you might need like some flavor, but you can write a human being. You can write a person. So Winkler comes out and he says, quote, I see this argument all the time against a DEI and consultancy, and it just highlights the total misunderstanding of what being a good writer is. You don't somehow max out your stats and learn how to write every conceivable character, plot, or prose style. Knowing you can't, aren't ready, or aren't the right person to write something is one of the chief skills for a pro writer. Ideally, you have a team that can cover all your bases. But if you have a gap, you hire an outside expert, just like in literally any effing other industry. And because of this argument, again, this is what, these sort of ideologues always do. They completely misrepresent the argument that's being made. Nobody here is saying that, like Cider just said, right? He's writing in Maine because that's what he knows. He's not writing what he doesn't know. Nobody out here is trying to present themselves as experts, but sometimes maybe I want to write a black character who isn't like me, or I want to write a girl, or I want to write an alien. Who freaking knows? We don't. He's being very
Maybe you want to write a Superman in a wheelchair. Who knows?
Okay,
no, I want to write a Sentry in a wheelchair.
This is Spider-Man in a wheelchair.
I just again I have to get at this with this whole notion that you need to bring more people into a writer's room to do something. If you find you are not confident in that idea, don't do it. There's everything else in the known and unknown universe that you can do. If you don't feel confident in writing a black character, don't. Make a black character that doesn't do those things that you don't feel comfortable doing.
But see, that's the insidious trap. You just hit it right there on the head, Cider, right? It's like, oh, if you're not comfortable not like writing these characters, whether it's a black character, an Asian character, a trans character, whatever, go write what you know. Can't do that, Cider. Can't do that.
Right.
You've got to have the right representation. And then that's where they go, dumb. You're not representing them right. Call in that team of like experts and they'll tell you how to do it right. Like again, it's not creativity or helping you add to your project or give it more like authenticity. It's coming in and making it into propaganda, into going, we're going to make this book fit into our worldview, regardless of whatever else is going on. So in conclusion to his little rant about that, Winkler straight up says that because people are making this argument that a good writer can write characters like without needing to have a giant team of diversity consultants behind them, he says, quote, that argument is just further evidence that 99.99% of the people spewing this poop have never created a single thing in their lives that they're proud of. And the rest are just straight up bigots, right? Like, I don't there's not.
I guess I'm a bigot.
Yeah, like when you go by, I thought non-binary was the thing. So why are you presenting me with a binary? Why does it have to be one or the other? Am I right? No, but it's disingenuous. It's making these insane claims at your opponents, and I truly don't think these people realize what they're actually saying and how stupid they actually come across. And this isn't necessarily limited to left, right, pro Gamergate, anti Gamergate, whatever. It's just like these ideologues say things and they don't realize what it means. 99.99% of the people spewing the line that they don't want DEI consultants. Well, let's take, being very conservative. Let's just look at Cabrutus's Steam group page, right? 500,000 members. You're telling me 500,000 people just out of nowhere are straight up bigots? Like, and nobody's ever created anything? Like, that's an insane statistic.
It reminds me of that whole damn Harmon meltdown from several years ago when he was like, it's not that complicated. Just say you're not a Nazi. It's like, in their mind, it's just like literally everyone is a Nazi.
No, it's absolutely...
Even if you said you're not. They're going to say, no, you are. You said a thing that a Nazi would say.
No, they'll be like, oh, you denied it? Oh, that only a Nazi would deny that he's a Nazi. And it's like, you put me in this position in the first, like, what do you want
you
from me?
posted a frog meme. You're a Nazi.
Dude, you said like, oh, I like Hal Jordan over Jon Stewart. You're a Nazi. Like, it doesn't take anything from them. Like,
you don't think Miles Morales is actually Spider-Man? Probably a Nazi.
Probably. Oh, I mean, that is the one that gets thrown
Nazi
out all the time, right? But for like another one that I am not over, because I looked this up yesterday in the Microsoft's whole thing about don't do exaggerated female body parts that we talked about. They cite as like evidence to their points a study from this group called Newzoo and the ADL, our favorite people, the freaking ADL. And in their study, they say our data represents a sample, like it's representative of I think it's like 200,000 Americans or something. Here, I'm going to pull the number up because like once I have the actual numbers, you guys will be like, this is straight up just a lie. How do you say this? So yeah,
with their whole chest, that's how they said it.
Right. So in their report, they go, our report is represents 100 million American adult gamers. And
no, it does not. It does not.
Right. Hold on to that number. Because it gets
verifiable lie.
Yes, it gets so much more insane from that. Because not like, all right, you all see right now from the jump from that one statement, the four of us are like, absolutely not.
No.
But watch what happens when we delve into it. So this survey or this study, 100 million American adult gamers alone. So 100 just adults, not even including teenagers. In this study, the ADL and Newzoo claim that 12% of the people who responded to this, like of this sample, have been swatted. Now, if you take that number out, that means 20 million people have been swatted. That is just not a number. That is just absolute fucking
mapping.
Okay, police departments would be paralyzed if that was a thing. At the rate that has to happen for 20, since it became a thing, for 20 million anything to have happened in under a decade, it is epidemic levels. This is a UN conference that needs to be called over this, okay? Like, there needs to be, like, in the arms of the angels commercials pleading with people to stop swatting internet streamers, you know?
We get our new version of We Are the World, but it's like we gotta stop.
Yeah, right.
We gotta stop the swatting. Like, hell yes.
Instead of hand the world a code, it's Coke. It's hand the world a redeemable code for gamer fuel. You know, G Fuel.
Okay, so all right, brace yourselves. So again, they said our information we're presenting you is 100 million. For just 5 cents a day, you can help fight the woke mob.
It's just like Melanie Mac's picture on like every single
right, and she's just doing this, just. You know? You can fight bigotry coast to coast for 10 cents a day.
For 10 cents a day, she's just kicking kids out of the way. But okay, before I keep losing my mind. So yeah, they said our study, all the information, we're extrapolating it, and it represents 100 million gamers. The actual amount of people they surveyed, 2,134 people total.
Okay, that's 100 million now.
That's what they extrapolated. They said 2,000 represents 100 million.
That still seems like a lot. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't know any gamers that do fucking, do the friggin' like after service surveys that go and do like how you're feeling about the game service. Do you feel represented by this Halo game where you run around blowing up faceless aliens from another dimension?
Right.
You know, how's your masculinity doing playing a female character with no butt versus one with a butt? I really don't see any like gamer that isn't playing like Jewel Quest or Candy Crush going through the survey.
Well, that's literally what they specify. They say 2,134 gamers across PC, console, and mobile platforms.
It's Steiner man.
You see, you put my 33rd to 1/3 chance when you're 63rd to 2/3 chance. You got 136
Yeah.
What?
Steiner, it's going to be a three-way for the TNA heavyweight title at Sacrifice between you, Kurt Angle, and Samoa Joe. Now, before you get there, you have an important step tonight as you and X Division champion Petey Williams take on the unlikely duo of Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe.
You're doing math.
You know, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me and you look at Small Joe, and you can see that statement is not true.
You look at DEI and you look at regular games, and you can see that that is not true.
It's not true. We don't want your forced diversity.
See, normally if you go one-on-one with another wrestler, you got a 50-50 chance of winning.
Normally when you buy a AAA game, you got a 50-50 chance of seeing jiggling boobies. But that's not the case with Sweet Baby Inc. involved.
But I'm a genetic freak, and I'm not normal.
So I appreciate jiggling boobies in video games, unlike Sweet Baby Inc.
You got a 25% at best at beating me, and then you add Kurt Angle to the mix. Your chances of winning drastically go down. See this?
Your chances of enjoying that video game drastically go down when you add Sweet Baby Inc. and Black Girl Gamers into that equation.
I absolutely
Man,
love
good.
how Steiner only says like every third word of a sentence.
Yeah,
Right?
This is another great one.
Retired. Okay, listen, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? I got freaks 9 days out of the week. I can give them, I was only 7 days in a week. Man, you ain't Big Pop. I'm the big bad booty daddy. It's nonstop. Now listen, English.
English.
I love the subtitles where it was just like stumbles.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Yeah. Okay.
Amen.
So two things to what we all broke down there, Cider. Because the one is that you brought up like the mobile games and how this information, like how do you get this survey, right? Don't know how they went out and it got the respondents, but it should also be noted that the answers aren't all from video game players. They're also from the parents of the teenage players. So these are, they're going, okay, parents, like, have your kids ever experienced this? Has this ever happened? And there, I guarantee you, at least like 9 times out of 10, whatever parent is working with the freaking ADL to do the survey, they don't know video games. They just know what big spooky CNN told them about video games. So they're going, oh yeah, my son definitely experienced racism. He told me, his friend called him a white, like, shut up, whitey once. Like, okay, is that racism or is that just like dudes bantering around, right? And then you also brought up this point about like, just dudes being dudes hanging out with guys. That's toxic masculinity. There is another study cited by Microsoft for the reason why you need to not be so misogynist in your game designs. It's from the Gina Davis Institute, who that's very same Gina Davis, the celebrity. Their study is like the most slanted, fear-mongering thing sort of absolute all time. Like, for example, one of the stats that they put forward as to like why video games are so awful nowadays is because streamers used some variation of the ableist language crazy in 1 in 5 gameplay segments, right? And then they're like, oh, and look at video game characters. Nearly 1 in 4 male characters express anger. And it's like, I'm pretty sure that's because there's like challenges in video games. Like there's things they have to compete or fight against or whatever.
Are you actually a gamer if you haven't rage quit at least once?
At least once, right? Like at the very least. And so that's sort of how insane that study, like they make up like categories of stats so that things can seem extreme. But one of the things that really stood out to me is they have a whole section on like, like video game players are still in this environment of toxic masculinity. It's so awful. And boys need to, we need to be careful of that. Here's how they identified like if a game was being toxically masculine or not, right? They had survey questions that they asked these kids and they all had yes or no answers. And like a lot of them were sort of like this one where it's like, yes or no, I play video games to hang out with my other male friends. Yes, no. If you respond yes, it's a point in this is toxic like masculinity.
You go on the terrorist watch list.
Right. That's exactly what it is. And it's like, holy shit. Maybe I just like talking to my friends. You worded that one completely
Maybe a guy on a
disingenuously.
bridge shooting a Swedish streamer warranted him dropping a hard R live in front of several thousand
Play a
people.
video game. You'll get it. Mistake, yes, but also we've all been there. But yeah, like these studies, everything they want to tell you as to why you were bad is based on the most like pearl clutching, hyperbolic, insane things that nobody is ever going to care about. Like I use the word insane right there. They would say, oh,
ableist
we're all ableist.
Language.
Yeah. And it's just like, shut your mouth. And it's just like, let people create what they want to create and let the market decide. And I think that really is sort of what this all boils down to, because gamers have been, letting them or like voting with their wallets. And a lot of these DEI games bomb incredibly hard. Forspoken was a disaster.
Yep.
Suicide Squad was a disaster. Alan Wake 2 has sold nothing. Like it's a critical darling, but nobody's buying it. Marvel Spider-Man 2, I don't even think it's broken even yet. Because again, that movie cost more, or that game cost more to make than Spider-Man No Way Home. I will never let that go. So people are rejecting it, and they just can't handle that people don't like what they're doing. They can't handle somebody going, no,
Bro,
I'm not about that.
Hold on. I gotta stop you right there. Cause is it true, really? That it costs more to make the game than the movie?
Yes.
Here,
I will.
Really,
Spider-Man
like
in
all
it.
the fan service. It's got like all the redemption arc for Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man. And it's like, bro, this is
right
one of
with
the
all,
like,
and
probably
like
not
big
the best
celebrity
movie
cameos,
ever.
right? Like you've got, I mean,
Willem Dafoe.
aside from Willem, you've got Jamie, you've got Alfred Molina, who can still command a pretty sizable like appearance fee. You've got J.K. Simmons, you've got Andrew Garfield, who at the time was coming off of like Tick Tick Boom, and he was, you know, had a pretty big moment at that. So Josh, this, like, I am not lying to you. I just looked them up so that I can give you accurate numbers. No Way Home production budget of 200 million. And again, guys, the same thing sort of applies now with AAA gaming, where you get the regular budget and you have to add a little bit for like advertising and stuff. We don't have the exact, like, it's not as simple as doubling like it is with movies, but it exists. So these numbers are probably going to be a little, conservative, but No Way Home production budget, $200 million US. Marvel Spider-Man 2, $300 million to make that movie or that game.
That was
extra
like,
$100 million.
Look, 120 million went into Adidas and that awful design they made for Miles Morales at the end of the game.
Now, do you want to see?
This is insane. Who is getting paid for that?
This is what it gets you right here. This is what it gets you.
Developers.
Right here, this is what it gets you, Josh. Now, here it is. Here's the quote. Here it is. This is what all that money gets you.
And kneel and be amazed at the touch of the black man. I bring life.
There it is. There it
That
is.
is so good. That is literally what it was all. And like, to me, okay, like, break this down, especially like Josh, you've played like Spider-Man 1 and you actually played Miles, so you can help me break this down.
I did actually play the Miles Morales game. Yeah.
I thought you did. Either way, we've talked about this extensively. So like, let's look at what we got out of Spider-Man 2, right? Like, it reuses the same map, but with like Brooklyn or like Queens is now added to it. Still the same Manhattan, generally still the same engine, generally building upon the same models you had already been using before.
Yeah.
Generally building on the same gameplay elements that you already had before.
It's literally the same effing game.
It's literally. So how did you get 300 million? To me, like, I'm throwing this out here because I just sort of came upon this while we were talking about this. Like when Cider had the clip up, that's all the money that's going to like diversity companies. All the the narrative consultants and stuff. They command these insane high prices to come in and go, I can teach you how to do this better. And that's what we get. Like, I cannot fathom how, like, you didn't need that budget. There's money laundering. There has to be. Somebody bought like piles worth of cocaine, because there's no way that went into the game.
It's like, it's all the money that they had to pay back to the BLM Foundation or whatever it is that they introduced in the Miles Morales game. And it was like, oh, we owe them money. So 320 million. All right, that should do it. It's funny. It's funny. I just remembered this. I don't think this is like a significant chunk into that budget, but sort of to that point. I know you're making a joke about like, oh, they had to pay back BLM. I'm joking.
No, but hold on.
I'm almost kind of serious.
But also serious. Yeah. So you guys know that current pride flag that's like the rainbow, but then it's got like all the stupid triangles for like every other identity or whatever. I brought this up before. That is a copyrighted image. So if you ever use it, you have to pay an artist for that use. And that thing is in Spider-Man 2 everywhere. So I imagine the guy got a pretty sizable licensing check out of that.
You know what that is? It's like in 20 years when they remake this game, it's gonna be like Tony Hawk. You're gonna have to pay royalties to get that freaking flag in the game as well. It's like the music.
They absolutely will.
No, it's the same thing with the flag now. In 20 years, they're gonna have to pay royalties for that.
Bold of you to assume there'll be a humanity around in 20 years.
Oh yeah, no. Yes.
Well, you just assume the tribulation will start.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna throw it over to Jacob. Like, we're going Rapture. Come on now.
This paragraph right here, I've just been looking at it, and all I can hear is Klaus Schwab, right? So, you know,
80% of the media consumed by the world is created in the US, and yet most of the media, including video games, don't contain characters and content that align with the broader consumer.
You know, it sounded a little bit more
You will
Russian
eat the
German.
bugs.
Honestly,
You will live in the
Love-
books.
yeah, yeah.
Go, Josh. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what were you saying, Josh?
Um,
We were just making funny voices.
Oh yeah, I know. But I like the impersonation of Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
Klaus Schwab.
Ja,
Schwab my butt.
80% of media consumed by the world is concrete in the US und yet most media, including video games, Entschuldigung, don't contain characters, content that align the consumer.
See, he sounds like a German that you'd buy bread from, you know?
I was about to say, like,
Klaus
Klaus
sounds
sounds
like
like
a
his impression
German-
of his neighbor.
Well, Klaus sounds like a German that has like a missile pointed at the core of the earth.
Bro, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's-
I mean, my mom is German, so I grew up listening to the German accent like all my
Right.
life. So it's like,
The polite
yeah.
German,
No,
not
I
the
get- I get-
world-destroying kind.
I get to joke about it. Finally.
That's my joke, not yours.
Yeah, it's
No,
my
like-
joke. I'm appropriating.
Yeah, Cider. Like I read that statement, the 80% of the world. So why don't we do it? And it's like, why do we have to do it? I don't understand why we have to care about representing Japanese players in Japan who have their own game market, or Korean players in Korea who have their own game market, or what? Like, why don't we represent Americans? And obviously that comes with, you know, lowercase of d diversity, right? Like I hate that I have to like clarify that. Like obviously different races, whatever, are in America. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's more than ever. I mean, I know that a lot of us, like even me to an extent, we've always sort of posited this theory as on like a global scale, but I think maybe this was like the first time I read it, and because it was something that was so personal to me and something I knew, I sort of finally had it click in my head. But it's like they're only making this request of the US. It's to like destabilize us, to make our attentions like I don't like. You guys know what I mean? Like, am I expressing myself right?
It feels like
they-
that they're trying to intentionally make you go insane.
They're trying to make you intentionally go insane and sort of intentionally like go, America, you have to, you know, sort of like this is going to be a really weird metaphor, but it's what comes to mind. Imagine if like the rest of the world were Cinderella's like stepsisters and America is like Cinderella. The games industry is like the evil stepmother, and they keep going, oh yeah, other games industry, you know, do whatever you want, you know, be diverse. Oh, it's so great. But then they go, America, excuse me, you can't do it unless that's diverse enough. What are you doing? You didn't represent Niger. You didn't represent Chad or Uzbekistan. You got to throw this like back in there. Nope, you can't go out tonight because you got to make it more diverse. And like, it's just like,
No,
it hurts.
No, I'm gonna show you why.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeff
Hit us
Bezos
with it.
slipped up. Okay. So here you go.
Please.
Leaked Amazon Whole Foods documents claim workforce diversity helps prevent unions. And here it is. It says, for Aristotle, democracy is possible only within homogeneous ethnic groups, while despots have always reigned over highly fragmented societies. A multi-ethnic society is thus necessarily anti-democratic and chaotic. The indispensable condition for ensuring a people's sovereignty accordingly resides in its unity. So it's right there. That's why they're forcing all of this. See, we as Americans didn't have this problem. We didn't. If you recall, think about this. When Superman was fighting the Kryptonians in the very first movie, nobody was out there Richard Pryoring it up. It wasn't until Superman was threadbare that they started throwing those cheap jokes in there. Before then, every American was equal. There wasn't anything separating us. We talked about being the 9/12 Americans, the guys after 9/11, where we were all one people responding to this tragedy that had happened to us. And then this diversity stuff just immediately started raining from the sky right around the time that Barack Obama landed in office. And so here we ended up with this massive push to fragment what was a unified country. I remember people saying, we're over racism. We have a black president now. This is Martin Luther King's dream realized.
It's finally over.
Right. I remember that. I remember people taking the victory lap that I voted for the black president to end racism in America. And it was like,
I remember that.
Okay, have you heard him talk? That's not what's
there was
going to
a
happen.
lot of there was a lot of people, especially white people, even some white Republicans. I remember 2008 who were like, I'm glad that this happened because now we can finally move forward as a nation and get away from race. And little did they know.
Yeah, little did they know we get right back into it. I mean,
so you don't need everybody to look the same. We've proven that. We've demonstrated that as a society that you don't need. The American experiment is proof that everybody doesn't need to look the same. But the thing that gets us is that when we are forced to like acknowledge these differences in ourselves, right? When we are forced to only see the differences, in fact, that like with Ellen Page's situation here about that, we need to, our rights are being revoked because we're not being recognized as just simple individuals. We have to first declare that we are transsexual before we declare what we are after that kind of thing. We have to declare that we are gay and thus our rights are being revoked. It's like, you're crazy. You're the one that assigns that label to you. You're the one that demands people address you by that and understand the complexity of your mental illness. That's what you do. I'm not party to that unless you rope me into it and then shame me into playing your game.
Right. You're only involved because you're like in some vaguely related like group, like you watch TV. So now you're roped into this because you've watched Ellen or like whatever you want to call them on TV before, and now you're a bigot. Yada 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 yada.
So hold on, Cider. Look, I wrote the article and I spent like 2 hours trying to find Elliot Page talking about like women's rights.
I like to call her Eddie.
You know?
Yeah, sure.
Ellen Page was talking about women's rights in 2015, in 2016, and then all of a sudden, complete silence. And I was like, okay, this cannot be true because this person actually changed the narrative. Women's rights are no longer the priority. It's LGBTQ. There's a bunch of like things. I don't even know what the plus stands for. Like,
no. Like I said this on when I was on Jacob's Bible Lens stream when I was like explaining like my beliefs and stuff. I'm like, it goes LGBT. Stop. We're not going anywhere past that. All that other stuff is nonsense.
Get all those 3 or 4 letters, whatever. Right. So I'm just, and I'm like, no, what are you doing? Yep. And there it is. Right. So it's because it's obviously hypocritical. And here's the thing though. Ellen Page actually talks about the gender pay gap. And I'm like, that's why I included it in the article at the very bottom of the article. And I was like, come on. You just,
like you put yourself in.
Is there still a gap now that you're identifying
now that you're a man?
Well,
that's why, like,
it's playing a man as well.
And playing like it's you have all the cards lined up for you. Shouldn't the gap like be there like in your favor? Yeah. So 2 things. So like 2 things to your point is like now I don't even remember what I was gonna say to your point. Yeah, I totally brain farted on that one. I have no idea what I was.
Here, I'll fill in the gap while you're going back over it. Ellen, Elliot, whatever you are today, look, you can't hold the office that you do, the status that you do, person, because and have your rights revoked. It doesn't work like that. You can't be a persecuted person and also be accepting a celebrity award at one of the most prestigious recognitions in your country. Okay, so those 2 things cannot coexist. You can't be Nelson Mandela and still be receiving a Juno Award. It doesn't work like that.
To them, you can, right? Like in the liberal camp, we talk about this all the time, and I say it all the time. It's the goldfish memory. They look right now and they go, "Oh, I'll give you that award, Ellen or Elliot." And then
whatever
next
you are,
week it does. Yeah, next week it doesn't matter what happened at that award show.
Hold on,
here's another one, right?
So hold on.
Go.
And I said this jokingly, like I'm pretty sure I actually messaged you about this thing, and I kind of went like, well, this article I'm writing about Elon Page, right? Because it's like
Oh, yeah.
Elliot and Ellen Page, and I was like, this is the best thing, the best of both worlds, right?
Elon
Page. Because I
Elon
don't know how
Page.
to address this person, right? So in the article, I address it as she, because I'm like, I get confused if I try to do the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I'm like,
You were
yes,
supposed to
well,
do it,
Elon
Dave.
Page. I'm trying. I will coin that now. Elon Page. That's
Elon
the name.
Page.
That's your name from now on. Because you're trying to push a narrative that one for one, you didn't actually provide any like kind of evidence, hard evidence.
No, never.
Saying, well, wait, no, we're being revoked. Wait, revoked how? Just tell me.
But like,
I see you in
I'm just
media
gonna
all
refer
the
to you
time.
as Eddie Guerrero Page.
hell yeah, Super Saiyan Page.
No,
only.
she just gonna start calling her Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's the
Diamondless
official.
Dallas
Put it down.
But again, like this is the cycle of misery that this person's perpetuating. You know, and that's what this is it's a cycle of misery. I am now accomplished. I have now made whatever inroads. I am completely unfettered in my self-expression. I must still be the victim.
The victim.
And that's what it is that you have these people that are, it's like DZ3 says here, if it's being revoked, whose fault is it? Because these crazies always have to be a victim, always. And in Canada, where they'll like kill you because you're having a bad day. You know, if you're just, you know, I had a fly in my soup. You know, Justin Trudeau's like, have you considered assisted suicide? You know, it's ridiculous, you know, and they're inventing excuses now, you know, to get rid of people. So it's there are bigger problems you need to be concerned with. Elon,
Right? Yeah.
it, whatever you are. The biggest problem I have with this whole thing is that she's clearly deranged. She talks about having heard demons or voices that are telling her that she's not a girl, that she's a man and trapped in the wrong body, and that these voices were relentless as she was going through her adulting period and things like that, coming into being an adult, rather than like legitimately seeking out mental health. She went to a bias confirmation center.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
because look, put yourself in her position, right? And I'm thinking, look, if I was going through all of that,
Amazing, Leslie.
I would want help. You know, I would go to the doctors, and I would just try to and that's the thing. Look, whatever the left is trying to push, it's like, oh no, it's not a mental illness or whatever. It's actually, you know, you being the real you or whatever. It's like, no, I would still want some treatment, you know?
Right. I mean, it's such a, like Cider said, it was such an extreme reaction because she started having these problems. She started feeling depressed. And instead of like starting from like, you know, zero and going like, hey, maybe I see a shrink, maybe I go to like an actual doctor. She went to the specialist who straight up went, or an exorcist, or a team of them, right? From all the religions, as the last Exorcist movie showed me.
Yeah, an A team for real.
Bro, Jason,
yeah, exactly. The faith team. I love that with an actual like capital A.
Yeah,
but yeah, like she went to go. Yep, she went to go get like help, and the first person she went to went, "You're trans. Let's go." Like if you read all of her accounts, she's like, "I had this doubt. I got this answer. I immediately started," and it's like. There is like 9 different steps there that you should have like taken before even considering that. Like, why did you have to leave? What is with this obsession with pushing you into the most extreme things all the time? Like, I know if you're out there, nerdigans, what I'm about to talk about is something you especially hate, because I hate it too. But there's this thing online called egg culture, right? Where trans people are always convinced that if they find somebody who they think is trans, they'll call them an egg and say, we have to crack open their shell so that they can come out. But the problem is, if you look at a lot of
quite literally grooming, by the way.
Yes.
That up.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was about to say. Like, if you look at all their rhetoric, it's not like, oh, are you maybe trans? Like, talk to me, da-da-da. It's like, oh, you do this? You definitely are. Oh, you like that? You definitely are. Like, right? They groom them. They groom them into being it. And it's no longer just a weird internet thing. It's this giant like movement. I don't even want to call it like a social, like I guess socio-political movement's the best way.
Movement.
Yeah, bowel movement's better. That's like
demonic movement.
better. Demonic. That's even better. A demonic bowel movement. How about that?
There
right.
it is. Yeah. Taco Bell not included.
What is this one? Oh, I remember this guy. Wait. Do I remember this guy? Josh, did you share this?
This is Josh Alexander.
Yeah, no, that is mine. And no, I think you're thinking about the guy that was cancelled at his own school. That I forget the name of the one that actually supported Kyle Rittenhouse after he was,
No, you know who I was thinking? You know who I was thinking of?
This is actually in Canada, by the way.
Gotcha. So like the one I was thinking of, and admittedly, now that I think about it, it's like a couple years old, but there was like a kid who went to school like in America, and he just had like a Trump 2020 or a Trump 2024 shirt on. And his teacher lost his mind. Yeah, but like his teacher lost his mind, demanded that he change, kicked him out of school. Like, that's who I thought this was. But yeah, go ahead.
It's not it. Well, basically, this guy was actually suspended from. I think the suspension came in like November or whatever, right? So when the suspension was lifted in January, he went in February to the school, and he was just like escorted out because apparently the school board had made a decision to just keep him out the entire school year, and he didn't know.
Wow.
And it's like.
That's got to be like religious discrimination, right? Like,
but here's the thing, though. He's Christian.
But Canada probably
doesn't care. This is a Catholic school. Like, what is going on?
It's probably just because like that's the only religious institution they have around. I mean, obviously, like I know like Jacob wouldn't send his kids to a Catholic school, but I know like some Christians end up doing it just because it's the closest thing.
Or I was gonna say, or Canadian school. That was kind of my more concern.
Again, we are still here at Bounding. We are pro border wall on the Canadian border. We still are. We have not changed our position.
and deportation of Canadians.
I'm not even an American citizen. I agree.
You count. You count. You're part of the team.
Yeah.
Keep going. My dogs are freaking. I'll be right back.
There is a commotion. Speaking of a commotion, it could be ghosts. Possibly the ones that should have been in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire instead of the lesbian.
Hold on. Because I read your review from top to bottom. You mentioned queer baiting. So, okay. Obviously, because it's like, is the actress queer or whatever, right? So is she trying to push anything?
I don't know if she's queer yet.
But not yet.
Keep in mind, I don't think she's fully 18 yet, so they want to at least make sure she's legal.
DLC?
Oh, they can't bring it up yet.
Yeah, so that's why they were kind of dancing around the issue here.
Yeah, right. So like Ghostbusters 3, which is technically 6, is going to be like, oh no, she's a lesbian.
God, how many Ghostbusters have there been now? Because it's like what, 5?
Well,
now?
2, and these fanfics. These 2 fanfics.
Yeah, officially, right? But yeah, so the whole concept here is I remember in the last film, the last film was supposed to be like this big, hey, we took us so long to do a Ghostbusters movie that Harold Ramis died, so let's do, I guess, a goodbye to him and kind of make his family in the film, his family, the central characters of the movie. And it was a good little, hey, sorry for 2016 Ghostbusters. Hopefully you guys don't hate us anymore. But now it's like, okay, so we're just going to go in with this new cast now. Then we still got the old 70-year-old Ghostbusters back here too. And tonally, the film is just an absolute mess because they're essentially trying to cater to 2 audiences. They want to cater to the, hey, we remember you guys are still big fans of Ghostbusters from the 1980s, so whoever 40, 50-year-olds are like still hardcore Ghostbusters fans versus the, hey, we got these new hip Gen Zers over here, and so let's go ahead and try to make this a YA a series now moving forward, which of course is always great, especially a genre.
Hold on, Jacob. Before we move on, Leslie is actually asking a really good question. Was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire a flop? Regardless of the quality of the movie.
I don't know if it's a flop yet. The last time I checked, it hasn't made back its production budget, so we'll have to see.
And when the movie come out,
production
last
budget,
week,
last week. So it has a production budget of $100 million, and right now it's about $70 million at the
Yeah,
moment. So
it's
70
still not
million
breaking
weeks
even,
in. Yeah, so it hasn't even made up its production budget in almost a week, which is definitely not a good sign
it's pretty
for this
bad.
one. So if it keeps at this pace, especially since Godzilla's coming out this week too, that could be another thing that really hurts it. But I think kind of bad word of mouth. I said on another stream that in the first one she dressed like it was. Yeah, I mean, you know, she was like this weird, quirky, like sciencey girl. In the first one, they tried to make her seem like, oh yeah, she's just like Hera Ramis. She's super smart and super intelligent. And then, of course, we didn't get into any kind of like stupid like love angles here. But in this film, so this is the big debate over the last week or so. It's about whether they were actually trying to push in like some lesbian love angle here, and the answer is yes. So what happened is that she meets a ghost girlfriend around her same age, and at first it's like, oh, okay, well, she's found a friend because maybe she's in a new city, she hasn't found any friends. But then as the film goes on and it progresses, that makes it seem like, well, maybe they're actually more than friends. Maybe someone's actually fallen in love, right? Which also is the implication, because I'm not going to spoil anything for you guys, but Phoebe, the character, makes a very, very asinine, stupid decision about 2/3 into the movie, which if she did that only because, oh, I thought you were my friend, that actually makes it even dumber in the context of what she actually did. So the implication,
you know what? No,
is that
I'm gonna spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it because I hate this. So there you go.
I think we should talk about it because I have no idea what we're talking about. The crowd, our viewers, 5 seconds, go
like
if
Frodo.
you don't care.
That's the worst part about this. She looks like
she does
Frodo.
look like Frodo. Yeah, that's really weird. Okay, we're starting now.
So let me
Frodo.
Let me set this up for you guys. So
set us up.
The whole thing is that there's this demon that causes people to like be frozen to death. It's basically a Sub-Zero demon, and that's the short answer to make it whole make sense. So the smart girl, who's the one on the right, is with her pseudo lesbian ghost girlfriend over here. So she decides inexplicably to go into a machine. Now the machine is supposed to separate demons from like objects, so like possess objects, separate the matter, so it'll dissipate or whatever. She decides to put her. She decides to.
I wish it was called that. That's kind of great.
She decides to put her entire body into this machine so that her soul will be separated from her body so that she can have an actual connection with the ghost girl, because at least for a few minutes, they'll both be ghosts and they'll actually feel something together.
Hold on. Yeah, okay. Hold on. So
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right. So, look. Hold on. I'm not.
I have no commentary. I'm just like, huh?
I'm not really going to defend this. Like, this is awful. This is like, I'm not going to watch this. Look, I don't even need to watch the scene. After seeing that, I'm not going to watch it. Hold on. However, the Ghostbusters animated series from like 80, whatever, 89, 91.
The real Ghostbusters?
The
real
OG,
ones, yep.
the original.
Yeah, because there's real and there's extreme. You're talking about real.
They had this episode when Egon died, and he went into like the underworld or whatever. He was just wandering around the underworld, and the other Ghostbusters had to go, bring him back.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, I get that. I get why they're doing this. I'm pretty sure they didn't even watch the episode. It's just maybe a coincidence. But I see what they're doing, and I'm like, no.
That's I understand the context of the episode you're talking about, but in the context of this movie, that's not even like remotely like what they were going for here.
I'm
it's
pretty sure it has
Yeah.
absolutely nothing to do with that. I'm still like, I see it and I just kind of associate it with that, even though I know that they're not as creative as the episode was 40 years ago.
And it's me said it perfectly right there. Like, heel versus babyface, I guess, made this point too. It's like they could have just easily casted like the ghost person to be a boy too, if that was the angle they were going with, right?
Could even been one of those pretty boys, one of those Hanson kids,
Why didn't it get Slimer?
But this is,
wouldn't want to date Slimer.
But I just want to. That's a good point, Josh. See, that's the thing, is that they've gotten so gosh darn, I've swore so much tonight. Gosh darn away from the original concept of this whole franchise that never was supposed to be a franchise.
You
have exterminators. That's all they are. And the neat hook to get the studio interested is that they go and they exterminate ghosts. They go and pest control ghosts, and they have nuclear backpacks to do it. That's it. The nuclear backpacks don't do anything but allow them to shoot lightning out of weird little, gun things. That's it. That's it. That's all they are. They're just exterminators. The thing is that the ghosts are all horrific, twisted monsters. Vigo was some general from hell. Just these otherworldly, broken things. So when you start putting in that, like, a sentient, innocent soul can end up being sucked up into these machines and imprisoned with all these horrible demons, like a little girl's soul can get imprisoned with all these horrible creatures. That is a horrible precedent to set, that the Ghostbusters could inadvertently harm a lot of people by doing this. They could create horrible monsters doing this.
I was gonna say, doesn't that just make like all of Ghostbusters, like the end of one, insanely dangerous because they're just like running around with their proton packs, juicing it out? Like, that's insane to me.
Well,
that's
here's
a really
the thing.
weird. That's a weird lore addition. Yeah, keep
after
going.
I watched this movie, I rewatched the first Ghostbusters movie, and I think I watched the first two, but especially that first Ghostbusters movie, the 1984 one. When you go back and actually watch that movie now, it makes every single Ghostbusters that's come out since then so completely, like, it's even worse by comparison, because none of these movies that has come out, especially like the last 10 years or so, they don't have the same tone, they don't have the same feel. Like, it's nothing remotely close to that original movie whatsoever. Like, all of these other films look like Saturday Night Live sketches by comparison.
Yes.
Well, it's also like what Cider said, right? Like, when they made Ghostbusters, this wasn't supposed to be a franchise. The whole sort of like ironic juxtaposition of Ghostbusters is like, we have four kind of just schlubby dudes battling like the most supernatural things you could ever imagine. But the sort of pull was like, they're just regular dudes. They're just doing their job. They're just exterminators. After one, they decided, like, that's when the studios went nuts and went, oh, we should make this like lore, and you guys are like actual heroes. And it's like, that's not what they are. Like, you're trying to turn this, there's that debate that goes around, like, is Ghostbusters 1 a comedy or is it an action movie? And it's like, well, that debate exists around 1. After that, it's all action movies with like goofy moment. It's so bizarre. Like, I've never been a fan of the idea. It wasn't even that in a franchise.
The first Ghostbusters movie is so well written that, like I said, that's the reason why people still have that debate, because there's very, very funny moments that it's not even like, oh, they're obviously like trying to get a laugh out of this scene. It's just like the lines are so well delivered and so like well set up. Like, everyone like remembers like the scene like where Bill Murray's like saying there, it's like, it's true, this man has no dick, and then he has no dick. But like I said, the joke is so like well written and so set up. That's what makes it funny, and that's what makes the first Ghostbusters movie such a classic. But every other one since that, it's like, okay, well, we have to have a joke like in here. Like, how do we squeeze in some humor into the script? It's always Hollywood's idea of what humor is.
Well, again, like, we're at that Back to the Future point. We've passed that. Like, Ghostbusters 2 closed it off. You didn't need to go any further. Everything that involved what those guys were doing had been explored and taken to the furthest extreme that made the most sense in the most, senseless setting. You know what I mean? They went in the universe, they filled the sewers of New York full of Pink's glowing snot. Okay? That you can't really top that. You bring a giant Stay Puft Marshmallow Man through the streets of New York. The only thing you can top it with is Statue of Liberty assisting you in increasing the good vibes of New York. Once again, that homogenous thing that Jeff Bezos hates, bringing Americans together to help them ward off a general of hell. How do you top that?
That's another thing too. It's like the first Ghostbusters movie. The first Ghostbusters film was basically like an 80s B movie that worked, right? So
that's it.
If you don't go into it with the same like mindset that they had with the first one, then it's gonna be like, no, this is a blockbuster franchise now, and then that's the mindset that they're going into these movies with now.
Yep.
It's like the one joke that I always go back to whenever I think of the Ghostbusters, even though because the Ghostbusters is not like an action movie. I can tell you how many action scenes are in the first Ghostbusters. one.
Like 3. Like
Yeah.
no, because you count
It's
2. It's the final, and then it's the one in the courtroom. Like, or is it, unless I'm getting it confused?
No,
in
the
courtroom's
courtroom
two.
is in the second one.
Okay, then yes, then it's one.
And
Then I'm
I love
completely
that
wrong.
scene as well. I know that the second movie gets a lot of shite, but it's like, yeah, no, I actually
It's got its
love
moments.
that.
It's got its moments.
Yeah, it has its moments, right? But the first movie has actually one action scene, and maybe when Tully, Rick Moranis' character is being chased around New York, probably you could count that as an action scene as well. It's like, yeah, sure, all right,
Yeah, okay. Like I could hear an argument for it.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I could hear an
yeah,
argument.
Ghostbusters, whatever, right? So, but the one line, the single one line of dialogue in the first movie, the OG movie, obviously, is I think it was Peter Venkman telling Ray, everybody's got a third mortgage in the house. It's like, and it's like, it's so funny. Like as a kid, I didn't understand it, and now as an adult, I'm like,
it's so real. Well,
funny,
that like,
and it's like,
that's why I've had like ever since I watched it as an adult, like I've had such a new appreciation for Ernie Hudson's character. Why am I blanking on his name? Winston, right? Because like
Winston's
in that
that-
first,
yeah.
he gives to me, he has the best line in that first movie, which is like whatever it is. It's like you give me a steady paycheck, I'll believe in anything. Like to me, I love that line, and like that's sort of the thing where it's like, again, they're everymen, they're not galactic Avengers.
Right. So one thing that I was like, okay, I get it in the first movie because it's obviously funny, right? Like when Janine answers the phone and she's like, "Ghostbusters, what do you want?" Because she's
what do you
obviously
want?
pissed. Yeah, because she's obviously pissed, right? So she's like, she's had enough. Maybe her paycheck is like not as good as she was promised.
Right.
Because the Ghostbusters are actually con men. If you don't freaking know, they're con men. They just.
That's the entire point.
Like,
Yeah, that's Bill Murray. He's
just
a con man.
Yes, he is. And now, 40 years later, in the second movie, in the trailer, you have Janine going like, "Oh, Ghostbusters, what do you want?" And I'm like, no. 40 years ago it was funny. 40 years later, I'm supposed you got a steady job. I'm pretty sure you've already got a family. I'm pretty sure you don't really need this thing. I'm pretty sure you're not annoyed by the phone calls that you get if you're willingly, joining the Ghostbusters.
Going back,
I'm like, no, it just doesn't work. Why did you do this? It's just member berries. And I'm like, no, just by the trailer alone, I was like, no, I don't care about this movie. I just don't.
and
I mean, yeah, that member berries thing is what I've heard from everybody. Like, this is like the first, like, I guess Afterlife was like people like that. And then they're like, oh, no, this one is just fan service, that type.
Well, and on that bombshell, we have this thing to close out with, this nightmare. Avengers 5 is reportedly expected to begin filming in 2025.
Oh boy.
Right.
How?
Oh, it's
How?
after
They
the
don't even have a
election,
team
so
yet.
it might be good.
Well,
we have
this
no
is-
team.
They don't have a team. They don't have a title. They don't have a villain, and they're going to be shooting next year.
Yep. And also, Captain America, Who Gives a Hoot, is not doing well in any screening. People are leaving a free screening. They are
Wait,
getting up
hold
and
on.
leaving free screenings because it's too
When is
political.
that coming out?
Never.
Like,
or at this
It's
point.
supposed to come out. Well, it was
Probably
supposed to come out this
Probably
year.
never.
Yeah.
Now it's probably not coming out till next year.
If that, like,
right.
there have been so like the basic flow has been they've rewritten and reshot that film like 4 to 5 different times, and not just like minor reshoots where it's like, oh, we gotta get a dialogue here or whatever. They've been doing like full-on story redos, because the most recent one they did removed what's his name, Roman Reigns, was that who it was, who was being
No, Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. I always confuse the two. But yeah, Seth Rollins was in the movie as the Serpent Society, and there was a whole team of them, and they're gone now, according to like the latest leaks. And then, yeah, like Cider said, they're doing test screenings, and people are just like, this sucks. Like, I'm leaving. I don't even want to stay to the end. Like, remember that survey Jacob got all the way back when he watched Indiana Jones, and they gave him like, "Are you black?
yeah.
How do you like
this
Phoebe?
movie?"
You think Phoebe's good? How about Phoebe?
Like, people aren't sticking around to fill that out. Like, that's how bad this is. We're gonna have a full total response thing of like 15 people, after this movie. This movie is going to be so bad. Mackie is losing his mind on set, dude. Okay. there's the article I was writing right before we went live. It'll probably be up like 15 minutes after the show is done. But Anthony Mackie recently came out and he was giving an interview about Twisted Metal because I guess it's just premiering in the UK right now. And the interviewer was like, "Oh, did your work in the Marvel Cinematic Universe prepare you to adapt, another property?" And Mackie goes, "Oh, it's so completely different. Marvel is like we have to, there's only so much content that Stan Lee gave us that we have to follow. We can't really be creative." And it's like, what the hell is this man even talking about? You guys have already gone off like the comic book rails like 900 times. Like, I don't understand what this logic is supposed to be. You can't just admit that things suck. It's such a weird statement that I don't even know what to say. The article is just me going, yeah, that movie's breaking his brain.
We're following that. Not even the Spider-Man movies. There's like one scene in Homecoming when he's lifting the thing. And I know that Ditko did the art, and it's like Stan Lee probably was just like writing the thing. It's like, well, after that, you just took a lot of liberties in Homecoming. I mean, holy crap.
But that's what I mean. It's like, I don't know how he can say like we have to stick to comic book canon and we can't do anything more when it's like you long threw that shit out the window. We've like Avengers 1 level that Loki's never invaded with the Chitauri, right? That was never a thing that happened. So, okay, that's a completely new thing. I don't understand what he's getting at. I'm just so baffled by it. But yeah, Volume, this movie's a disaster. It's not good behind the scenes. I kind of feel bad for Mackie because I kind of like the guy as a person. Harrison Ford, whatever. He can be angry. He signed up for the paycheck.
But Harrison Ford is probably just like in the one scene in the movie. It's like,
he's Hulk. He's Red Hulk. So maybe one scene, at least a big scene.
All right, sure, yeah, okay.
I mean, he's Ross between this movie with the rip pants.
Between this movie and Indiana Jones, I mean, we might as well be getting like AI Harrison Ford. I mean, that's pretty much what they're doing to him anyway, right?
The man does not care anymore. I'm sure he'll be one of the first people to say like, yeah, just throw me in there. If I don't have to go on set, that's how I want to make a movie. That's the Harrison Ford.
Just give me a check. I don't care anymore.
Let's see. Mitch Ryan asks, who will be the Avengers? Will the team be the Young Avengers? Dude, we don't know. We literally don't know. Aside from the fact that like all of these narratives ended in a weird spot, half the actors like don't have any further commitments to the MCU. Like Brie Larson, she has no idea if she's coming back for the MCU. What were you going to say, Josh?
Yeah, well, they got legal suits in the way.
Right. They got legal suits. They're currently being sued by their ex-girlfriends. But
yeah, I wanted before we move on though, because I mean we're still talking about this topic.
Shang-Chi.
I wanted to highlight. Shang-Chi. You get it right.
I got it right. My bigotry got out. It's Shang-Chi.
No, it's not his name. Highlighting hates me in HD. Oh man, I can't wait to see, and I know you're gonna love this. I can't wait to see Simu Liu and Brie Larson in the movie.
I will walk out of the theater. Like I will walk out of the theater. I will demand a refund. I'll become a Karen if I see a scene with those two like at the same time.
Movie? No, we just don't do that.
Brie's not in the Barbie movie, thankfully. I'm saying if I ever have to see those two on screen. Yeah, but if I can handle one for like 5 seconds. But if you put both of them together, I'm gonna like lose my mind. I'm gonna go full as on everybody.
And that is Avengers 6 or 5 or whatever.
But yeah, we don't know anybody who's gonna be on the team. They've given no real hints. We don't know any like right now. The only projects that are coming down the pipe are Deadpool and Captain America. I guess Agatha, if you want to count that, but that's not going to relate to the Avengers. That's just going to be for all the Facebook knitting groups. Like it's not an actual production. So at that point, like we don't know who the team is going to be. We don't know who's going to come back. I mean, like Leslie pointed out, right? Ant-Man 3 was a giant bomb. The Marvels was a giant bomb. Like I said, Brie Larson's regularly going out there saying, I have no idea if I'm coming back. And it's such a disaster right now that I don't even think Marvel really knows what they're doing. Because I have to imagine where they are right now. They're in that scramble to find their next actors, to find the team who will be their next Avengers, and they're just not landing on it because they've already screwed up everything way too much. I mean, does that roster look fun? The only people there who look fun to me are like Spider-Man and Ant-Man. Legitimately, like just nobody in that roster seems exciting at all. I don't want to see any of them.
Here's the situation. They
Ant-Man.
announced the movie. They announced the movie based on, this is all going to be about Kang. Kang is the future. This is the direction. Now he's gone. So now it's like, well, who do we go with now? It's like I said, they don't have a team. They don't have a villain. They don't have a name in it.
I was just adding like movies that were in the pipeline. That's all. Sorry, I just remembered that. You keep going.
No, that's it. It was like they got nothing.
They have literally nothing.
Hold on. How would you every single one of you feel if Sydney Sweeney was Captain Marvel?
If she was Miss Marvel
universe.
No, Captain. Like
no,
replace
Captain
Brie.
Marvel, yeah.
Oh, I see what Jacob's saying. Not Captain Marvel, but like when Carol was Miss Marvel. I follow now. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
The onesie.
Yeah, in the lightning bolt onesie. Here's the thing. At least for me personally, like I'm done with that character. You could put Florence Pugh in the role and I would not go see it because like I just don't care about that character. And then I'm just like, I don't know, maybe this is just me. I'm not the biggest like Sydney Sweeney fan. Like she's hot, sure, but okay. Like
okay,
that's
it. What else do we need, Spencer? Come on.
That's true.
You work for Microsoft?
Yes. How did you know? Damn it! Get me out! They've blown my cover. No, that's a completely fair point, but still, like I don't know. Sydney doesn't need to get dragged down in this. She's at that point, like she's up and coming. She doesn't need to be in the MCU. She thought she was already going to be in the MCU. I don't think she's going to want a real shot at it. So
with the Madame
Web, yeah.
Well, she actually researched the character. That's why I think she'd be a decent actress to play these superhero characters, because she actually researches them, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Regardless if like she has like
don't want you doing extra work.
Well, look for John Bernthal when he played the Punisher. He went out and resourced work, and he said, "No, here's the ones."
He's going to be in Daredevil, whatever. Try again.
Run him in.
Oh, of course.
Daredevil, try again. Yes, Daredevil, try it. I gotta make that
the
now.
best name
I have to make that.
Josh has been using that. Josh isn't using it. I love it so much. It's such a perfect like
Daredevil, try again. That's great.
It's a try again.
Yeah.
Not that. Yeah, like see, like none of us are. There's nothing exciting coming from Marvel. You're not going to put Daredevil up against your cosmic threat, or they might. I mean, they already did Hawkeye against Thanos, so who freaking knows? But again, at this point, we are at the point in the MCU where they are just literally the live action Marvel Comics publisher, where they just throw things out there. They say, "Look, you'll go see this movie or buy this issue because this character's in it, right? Like, go over there," and then they just go, "Oh, event coming." Aren't you all excited for event?
My favorite
things are happening, yo.
Yeah, exactly, Jacob. Like things, you like things.
This just occurred to me as you said that, though. I'd never really thought about it that, like, you know, Hawkeye fought Thanos, and it's like,
right.
You know, if you listen to how like Clint talks, he would have legit retired after defeating the intergalactic evil robot that was born out of a space gem that alters reality or the mind, you know, stuff like that. Like he would have retired because, like, if you remember, like the most intense thing he'd ever been through is a gunfight in Budapest.
Yeah.
Okay, and not an alien invasion, not a killer robot that can take over like your brain.
That can lift a planet and like slam it down.
I know that you're guessing. I know, but that's basically Hawkeye's arc in the Hawkeye show. He's like, bro, I've literally done this. I've fought intergalactic beings, and I'm just like, I'm a deaf like archer in this reality.
Like, I just want to go home.
Yeah, like I'm tired. My feet hurt.
My wife. I mean, that is actually kind of fallen into the comics. So he's like, "Oh, dude, I've actually been standing next to these gods. So the least I can do is not miss every shot." And that's one of the reasons why I personally love Hawkeye.
That's pretty cool.
Because he's like just a normal guy.
He's just a guy.
He's above everybody else, right? So he's above every normal guy.
And he's not
He
like
calls himself a
Batman.
normal guy, but he's not one.
Right, he's not like Batman. He's not like some obsessed rich billionaire scientist guy. He like drinks coffee out of the coffee pot itself. You know,
Right.
he's that
He's
guy.
just a dude. He's just a
But
guy.
that made him relatable, and that's the one thing that the Hawkeye show did right about the character. And I was like, yes, I want to see more of this. And then.
That was like what, episode like 2 though, and then
that was like 3 years ago. That was when I joined Batman in the comics. I was like, bro, that was one of the first articles I wrote. And I was like, yeah, no, okay.
He's running again.
3 years later.
So,
So I don't know. I don't want to see him come back because I know his character is going to be ruined in the same way that he was ruined in the Hawkeye show, introducing Kate Bishop. So I don't know.
Yeah,
hey
like
guys, aren't you into Kate Bishop?
So, aren't you so excited for the Young Avengers who we don't even have? Like, we haven't even set them up either. But hey, get ready for that. Again, they're just going event, have fun, like give us money.
Yes, but at one point, and I'm pretty sure it's coming soon, they're just going to introduce Miles Morales, and they're just going to be like,
they're working on it. They're working on it.
Just accept that. You've already seen the Sony movies. You're just gonna, you accept this.
Well, I mean,
he's going to be one of the characters.
I mean, that's what we see, right? Like Miles replaces Peter in almost every continuity at this point, except for Ultimate, where he doesn't exist currently. But it's like Marvel Spider-Man 2 ends with Miles taking up the reins, and
the reason why he doesn't exist is because he was turned into one of the 616 characters. It's like, why are you doing this?
But I mean, hey, I'll take it if that means I don't have to have another Peter story sacrificed to Miles. I will absolutely take whatever convoluted bullcrap they have to throw at me. Like, fine, Hickman, do what you need to do. Just keep that little bastard out of my face.
Holland's character, but don't kill Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield. Just do whatever you must.
Don't like. That's the thing. I think we all sort of forget that according to rumors and just common sense, like, they're going to reboot after Secret Wars. So we're going to have that's going to be the moment, is like, do they stick with, like, it's a new cap, but
what works?
Yeah, with what works. That's the best way to put it. Or are they going to go Marvel now? And now Miles is here, and Kamala's here, and Riri is the main one, and yada 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 yada. Yeah, Ironheart's still coming
too, baby.
No,
I know you guys love the Turtles. Guess what? We're making another one of those.
Aren't you excited for more CGI dragon fights? Like, just stop that movie. Just get it out of here. Yeah. That movie. Here's how you know that movie was a bad decision all around. Its post-credit scene relies on cameos from Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner. So Brie and Mark Ruffalo. Like,
even throughout the movie, at one point, it's like I forget the name of the actor, but the guy who played the villain in the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk. Tim Roth, right? And it's like, bro, he's in the movie. You just don't see him. It's the CGI monster, whatever. I think
Abomination.
Abomination, right?
No,
and
but
why did you bring him back? Like 50 years after the first movie.
Well, that one's for Remember Barry.
Oh no, it's just a case.
Yeah,
we just have this character here.
But like, to me, that's the sort of cameos that work, because it's like, he's not out in the regular
that's
world
a cameo.
stuff. Like, yeah, like that works. But my point was that, like, if you sit through Shang-Chi, you had to sit through fucking Simu Liu, Aquafina for like an hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh my god,
awful CG. And then, as a Marvel fan, you're sitting there like, okay, where's my my treat for having eaten dinner? Like, where's my dessert of who do I get to see next? What are you going to set up next? And what you see,
I'm a stop
Brie Larson and Mark Ruffalo. Like, wow, I don't want to be here.
you miss a spot, man.
What did I miss?
It's the freaking the Mandarin, right? Who's a Manchester United supporter in the movie, or a Manchester City supporter.
He's City, all right. He's City.
Called Trevor Slattery, played by Ben Kingsley. That is it. That is your payoff. And actually, that was the best part of the movie. Like, I was like, Oh my gosh, this
The
is
Kingsley
awful,
part-
but
yeah.
this is the best part of the movie. That's
No, but-
Shang-Chi.
But like that's what I like. You get that. Yeah, I guess that's like what the post credit scene. But it's like at that point,
that's
I'm
in
like,
the movie.
oh, that's
Halfway
in the
through
movie. That's right. But that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
even still, you go through that movie and you have that one bright spot, but you get to the end and you're like, at the very least, I can walk out of here going something exciting to talk about. Now I know what's coming in the future, and you get Brie Larson and Mark Ruffalo. Like, remember when Nick Fury used to show up and come out of the shadows? Remember when, like, I don't even remember any of the post credits.
Thanos was sitting on his space toilet and he was grumpy.
Yeah, like, or the Asgardians brought another power or Infinity Stone to the Collector, and they didn't know what it was. Like, whoa, like all these
the
things.
Collector
And now it's just
was in like Thor at the end of Thor or whatever, right? It was,
End of Thor 1 and no, Thor 2. It's Thor 2 because that's what the whole red.
Oh, it's
ether
the
thing
it's
is.
the second one.
Like that's
right.
the stone,
and it's not him who takes it to him. It's the Warriors.
Sif and Volstagg.
The other one,
yeah, it's Sif and Volstagg, the fat
the
dude.
one who just disappeared for 10 years with no explanation.
Seriously, right?
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
And that's the
this
problem.
point, we've got to ask questions, or they've got to start answering questions.
And they were right on the money on that as well, because the new Ghostbusters actually proves that. It's just like, it's just people consuming products. So Ghostbusters turned into Star Wars over the past 4 years or whatever. Whenever the last one came out, Afterlife, it's the new Star Wars, and I'm pretty sure the next movie, if there's another one, it's just going to be more of the same. The Egon Spengler granddaughter is just going to be the Ray of the movies.
After that shit in the first movie, like when I learned that they brought back Egon as like a CGI ghost, I was very upset. Let's put it that way.
It's the opening scene of the
dead people be dead. Let dead people be dead, unless you're using like archival footage and that you like look over and they like.
But that was like the thing though, because the movie actually opened with Egon's death, and it's like the first 10 or so minutes of the movie is actually really good. It's like, oh
but
yes,
that's him.
Okay, fine. You're killing off the character, fine, because I understand that the actor is passed away like 10 years ago.
Right.
I understand this. I like this, and then over the course of the movie, it's like, oh no, Egon is still there, and the granddaughter communicates with him on a daily basis, and then he shows up at the end of the movie, and I'm like, no, come on, this is a slap in the face to every single one. And everybody was like, oh no, this is such a good
tribute or whatever. Like
tribute, right? It's a great tribute to like Harold Ramis, and I'm like, bro, this movie came out in 2018, 20 whatever. Harold Ramis has been dead for like 10, 12 years. Why are you?
And not only that, they like defatted him too.
Yeah,
he looks,
oh yeah.
Unfortunately, he looks to me more Indian. Like, Bollywood Indian than he does Harold Ramis. I honestly thought it was just like, some guy. When he showed up, I really did. I was like, who's this guy? Because I know Harold Ramis to be a blimp. He's like got several chins.
He was a big man.
And that would have been better.
So many movies over the years.
Well, that would have been better to have like fat ghost Harold Ramis, like, kneeling down, kneeling down, Been a while, guys.
but I made it. I'm here.
Hey.
Yeah, right? Fat Egon.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
But no, I like that comparison that Ghostbusters is just Star Wars now, because it really is. I've never been a person who thought like that. I've never been a person who said like make that a franchise, and like every attempt I see to make more movies, or to go like, oh, nostalgia for all you fans, or have like Ghostbuster cons. I don't know. It all feels so forced, right? Like, so I'm not going out for like an Animal House con. I don't know. I would, but I don't think
so here's the thing though, because to us, I mean, I'm not like I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a Ghostbusters fan, but I'm just like I enjoy the originals, and that's basically it. But Afterlife, Ghostbusters Afterlife is pretty much the equivalent to like Star Wars Episode 1, even though it kind of isn't because the creator is not the same. So Hal
Right.
Ramis wasn't obviously writing Afterlife. If you
Right.
want, by the way, if you want you actually want Ghostbusters 3, that is the video game.
The video game.
It
Yep,
was actually
it's really
written by
good.
Hal
It's really
Ramis and
good.
Dan Aykroyd. So it's like, yes, that is the real sequel to Ghostbusters 2. So it's like, yep, right. If you want that, there you have it.
And that was written
But
by them.
in terms of
like,
yeah,
that was written by Ramis. Yeah.
yeah, but that was written by Ramis. Yeah. So in terms of movies, it's like, I don't know. Like Afterlife, actually, like I said, it could kind of is comparable to like Episode 1, but it really isn't. It's more comparable to like Episode 7.
Yeah.
Star Wars. So it's like,
'cause
it's the same thing.
It's that same thing we see with all these Force Awakens reboots, where it's like we're giving you the same story, but it's got like a different color on it, so you think it's a new story, but every plot beat is the exact same because we are uncreative and we know we're really only just doing this for nostalgia baiting.
Yes, and you know what?
It's
The
all
fan
about
base.
the money. Yeah, pal.
What money? The money's not there.
Show me the money, and then we talk about Cuba Gooding Jr. again.
Getting back on the Diddy plane.
Back when Diddy comes.
Did he do it?
Yeah, but the fan base for Ghostbusters is actually the same fan base for Disney Star Wars as well. So it's like, I don't know, they're gonna accept the second movie. They're just gonna.
Well, that's because
Yeah.
it's like that nerd crew clip is completely accurate, because that's what a lot of modern fans are these days. They don't really care about the substance of what they're engaging with. They don't care about the stories per se, or the continuity, or anything that it means. It's just, to them, it's a badge they can pin on themselves to go, this is my personality, right? I saw somebody talking the other day about how, like, on Twitter, somebody's like, why Funkos? Why do they exist? Like, why do people care about them? Why are there so many? Like, what is the appeal? And somebody, blew my mind, and she was like, the appeal is that for people who collect Funkos, it allows them to sort of commoditize their pop culture in a way where everything is uniform and everything can be displayed on the shelf at the same way, as sort of just a, for lack of a better term, like a flag of their personality, right? Like, you don't care about Ghostbusters, you don't care about The Flash, you just care that other people know you like this property. And that's, like, it's sad, but that's really where we're at. And that's why so many of these garbage productions, not necessarily any of the Ghostbusters, because I haven't seen any of them, but like, that's why they make so much money, because people just go, Proton Pack, yeah,
yes.
And then,
Oh my gosh, I was about to bring that up.
Yeah. Oh, I know that song. Oh, I'll go give you money. Like, it's bad. Bustin' makes me feel good. They just need to bring that song back.
And
forever.
then meanwhile, everyone else is just like Cider, just wanting to slowly die inside with every time they hear that jingle on the commercial.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
Hey guys, remember Ghostbusters?
I don't know. I'm one of those guys. It's like the same thing with Back to the Future. It was done in number 3. Everything that could have been explored had, within reason, what had been established had been explored.
They did
Agreed.
a video game, though I'm pretty sure the director does not really approve of it. But it's like, it's a point and click Telltale Games, the point and click video game of the Back to the Future, which actually takes place
I was
right
like,
after
point and click
Back to the Future
Ghostbusters.
3, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, they don't, like, guys, they're gonna do, they're just waiting for what's his name to die, and then they'll be like, Back to the Future reboot, let's go.
Oh yeah,
like diverse teenage lesbian Marty McFly, Martha McFly, let's go.
They actually, well, here's the thing though, they actually kind of did that in the 90s when they did second animated series.
They're gonna make Doc Billy Porter. You just know it's gonna happen.
No, how dare you? Don't you wish that evil on me, Ricky Bobby? Don't you wish that evil on us? I would take Boy George over Porter.
Yeah.
Porter's just more annoying.
But yeah, no, that's, again, I'm like one of those guys that, like, that was done and over with. We don't need to talk about it anymore. The first Transformers movie capped it. Like Power Rangers needed one more movie. The in space movie needed to happen to cap off that franchise, and it would have been done and over with, like completely sealed, you know. And that's just the problem. Sorry, my camera's screwed up, but
No worries.
yeah, go to find place to screw up there. Anyway, the really the biggest problem is that Japan's going through this now too. It's the heat death of creativity we're going through at the moment. There's just reboot after reboot, rehash after rehash. We're just gonna slap this idea together and that's it. And we have no end route. Like you Jacob, you were talking about this with Roadhouse. They had tried to update Roadhouse. They tried not to make Roadhouse into an 80s movie, but it just doesn't connect because that lifestyle that inspired the original Roadhouse is not a cultural touchstone anymore. Yeah, right.
And they've done that. No, you're completely right. Like they've done it to themselves.
He watched the movie.
Yeah, but it's like, I think we even mentioned this on like Monday. It's like you're trying to remake something, like I said, is a product of its time period, where, like I said, people wanted corny action B movies, and the film was a little bit over the top and not as realistic because that was the time period that it was in. And you're trying to update it, be like, let's do this in a realistic sense. But it's like, well, doing some things in a realistic sense isn't always like the right way to do things, and you didn't choose the right way to do it here anyway. It's like, oh no, instead of it's gonna be in small town Missouri, it's like, oh, let's do it in the Florida Keys, and it's just gonna be Conor McGregor going on a coke rage for 2 hours.
Yeah, he's just a psycho, but somehow a little less of a psycho than he is in real life.
An Irish psycho,
right? And that's it. That's all they're doing. They don't have any new ideas, and we're not asking them to reinvent the wheel to come up with a completely new movie formula. What we're asking them to do is just like drop the Avengers. You have no new ideas. You have nothing to build off of. Don't bother. Don't waste anybody's time with this. Put this away. Put your DCEU away. Put James Gunn back in the closet. Nobody wants him around right now. He's done doing the Guardians things. Put him on ice. And that's it. That just, do something not original, but do something that works. That's all we're asking, is do something that works. We saw what works. The Samaritan came out. Everybody loves the Samaritan. I got people that tell me it's boring, but they don't tell me they hate it. They don't tell me it insults them. They don't tell me that they want to do like a video series tearing it apart. They tell me that at worst, it was boring.
Right. And then they just move on and they go, okay, done. Yeah. This sucked.
Right. And that, again, like, just do what works, guys. We know what works. Just do it. Okay.
But then again, you have to also put this into consideration. They've been screwing up for so long now. Do they even know what works anymore? Like, if they had to go
Japan.
back tomorrow, it's just, well, they've been copying and pasting themselves for a while. That hasn't worked out well. So you might as well try
Well, that's just it. Is that like the U.S. needs Japan media, right? Like the way Japan's media is today would like extremely benefit the U.S. if it was just copy pasted. If we stop trying to adapt it, stop trying to stick the rock into it, if we just brought over that 1-to-1 in a reshoot or however we want to do it, that would dramatically reshape our society. Of course, that would be against what BlackRock wants, so it's not going to happen. But Japanese media, I tell people about this all the time. Tokusatsu, the cute little Super Sentai Kamen Rider thing. What goes on in those shows you think is like really kiddie and goofy in Japan, right? Because it has the veneer of Power Rangers that you understand from the US. Your lens of reference is Power Rangers before the Japanese version, right? But you go watch that, and the context of those shows deal with death. There's a lot of sex involved in it. There's swearing in it. There's all kinds of like repercussions for decisions the characters make. This is like above CW level in its maturity, and it's being pitched to like 6-year-olds in Japan. Enter Kamen Rider, where the theme of death and revenge for those deaths and wrongful punishment and all this sort of thing, loneliness, all sort of this kind of thing is a central theme to almost every writer. That's pushing like what we consider Loki levels of adult entertainment, that's pushing that stuff. So we need that here in the US. We need stuff that actually grapples and mature concepts like death and the permanence of those things and how to live beyond the consequence of bad decisions. Meanwhile, we're just like, no, just change your gender. Nobody can be mad at you anymore.
But that's literally what I was going to get at, is like, we don't approach these bigger topics anymore because everybody at the top went, oh, that's not safe. Like, oh, it's going to make people sad. It's going to make them uncomfortable. So, make every single thing we're doing into just a big, hug-in session. And that's why we get very, very awful television shows like She-Ra, right? Or Voltron, which started out great, right? If you guys remember that Voltron series on Netflix, years ago, started out pretty freaking cool.
It didn't suck. Defenders of the Universe. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah, Defenders of the Universe. What started pretty cool, was pretty nice to see. Like, oh, Voltron's back. They're doing it. If I'll be honest, it felt I was getting a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes from like those first 2 seasons. Like, okay, I can see it going that way.
Anime.
Yeah, American anime, but like they understood it, like it wasn't like oh, haha, anime, like big eye kawaii. It was like, we know what we're doing here. So that's what it felt like. And then after that, it devolved into, no, it's all relationship drama and affirming everybody's like feelings, and everybody's going to talk about everything in every single episode. And it's just
then gay.
Yeah, and of course that's how it all ends. It all ends in gay. We don't grapple with real life issues anymore because we're not allowed to. They don't want us grappling with it for whatever reason. We're not allowed to. But yes, I think with that, guys, we have already gone 45 minutes past our regular showtime, thanks to Josh. But this is why we want you. Like, I mean that in a good way. We want you back. We want you to.
Last time Josh appears on this show.
He's back to the jungles.
Bro, that was like 7 days ago. The last time.
No, but so we've gone long. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying we have, but we do have to get out of here. We all have things to do. So with that, before we sign off tonight, I have something very special to say, which is, here at Bounding Into Comics, we've been lasering a lot of things that have, they've already kind of
like
been
the microphone.
Yeah, like my mic. Is it doing it again?
Yeah, just for a second.
For a second, it's good now.
Damn it, it's doing it. But yeah, like our microphone, like Marvel, and we've been discussing backstage, why are we firing on things that have already, blown themselves up? And Cider made a good point. We are firing our laser to make sure it is gone. We are glassing it. So with that, we have the laser ready to fire with the biggest target that needs to just be gone, wiped, and cleaned, and just start over. Cider, my man, whenever you're ready.
There you go.
Just come on, like, please, we're so close. We're so close. Should we start like a death pool? Is it like, within 6 months, Kotaku finally goes down? Because that's what I'm thinking we need to do.
Sure. Just put a poll up on the
flames, baby.
Just throw it up in public or on either of the pages, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Yeah. We don't have an Instagram, but yeah, Twitter, Facebook's, Gab, all the places we are. Minds, wherever, Telegram, all of them. But yeah, guys, with that, I think we're gonna call it a night for tonight. And obviously, before we get going, I'm going to throw it off to everybody else, let you know what they've got going on, starting with my man right here, Jakob. What do you got, my man?
So next week on the channel, I'm working on a few projects that are going to be up. I'm bringing Retro Wave back for the first time in like 15 months, and we're going to be going over a series of 90s Nickelodeon shows, the ones that weren't, people weren't getting molested by Dan Schneider's team. So we're going to talk about the good ones. I got one coming up with Mongo Slade over on the Pro Wrestling channel coming up as well. So there'll be some actual content that gets produced this week. And then the Bible In show is moving to Sundays. This Sunday at 7 p.m. will be our episode. We're going to talk about the whole Christ is King discord going on Twitter, because believe it or not, I believe that this is pretty much a window of the tribulation and in the window of the end times. I know that sounds completely insane because we're talking about Twitter back and forth right now, but I'm going to lay out the case that this is probably exactly how it's going to play out in the end day. So that's what we got coming up on Sunday, and then Tuesday, Barroom Podcast, same time, same place. Go back and watch our one from last night. We talked about Diddy, Megan Fox, Steven Crowder, a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna admit I'm a little upset because you're changing the Bible Lens day, and I'm only upset. Like Sunday makes way more sense. Like you've talked about, like people are more attuned to that content on Sunday. It makes sense. But I just had to deal with the time change for your streams, and now I have to deal with a time change and a day change for your
And a
streams.
day
I don't
change.
even know what's going to go. Like I'm never gonna see you again for like 3 weeks. Cider, let the people know what you've got.
I do the videos on bounding, and be sure to come back here tomorrow night as I do a show with Nerdigans called Tokyo Happy Hour, where we talk about everything going on in Japan, culturally as well as in the media, and what's going on, not necessarily like in taxation and parking laws, but what's going on with the laws that influence video games, manga, and anime that are coming out of the country. So tune in for that and check it out. I know that we've had some more blips with the adaptation community, so look forward to that. And everybody's got a 25th anniversary because 1999 was when anime exploded all over the world, apparently, and like some very graphic, gooey imagery there for you.
You've got to, oh man, Cider, if you, I hope you guys go like, you got to like, what am I trying to say? Like all the magazines and news reports that were like Japanimation taking over and like just completely ignorant of the topic.
Asian
Like,
invasion.
Yeah, you've totally got to go through and like look at all those. That's going to be a blast. I would have so much fun doing that. Josh, what have you got for the people?
I got nothing.
Okay.
He legitimately has nothing. I know. No, you've got he's got articles in the cookers. You all know how Josh rocks.
It might be a secret. You might see it published tomorrow or whatever, but it's just, I don't know. I got nothing.
That's what I'm talking about, Josh. Keep them guessing. Never let them know what you've got. Never let them lock you down.
Very disappointed surprise, but it might be a surprise as well. So
disappointed surprise. People love your stories. Are you kidding me? I see the back end numbers. Yes, and then as for me, guys, as always, I want to thank absolutely every single one of you for stopping by tonight and hanging out with us here at the 01 stream. From Volume to Leslie, hey, it's me in HD. Just so DZ3, Veritas was here, Mitch was here. I'm trying to remember like everybody because my thing's not scrolling properly. But if you're Eccentric Banana was here, if you guys showed up, you mean the world to all of us. We saw you here. Thanks for coming. We hope to see you again. As for what I've got going on, as always, you can check out boundingintocomics.com every day for new stories going up, whether it's from me, Josh, JB, or Jacob, or, Nerdigans, Ryan. We got a full team. There's always something going on up over there. As always, you can tune back in, same bat time, same bat channel right here next week for another episode of the 01 stream, where the four of us will be back to break down the week's biggest pop culture news, especially things like Marvel, Star Wars, all that fun stuff that is obviously just going straight into the toilet. If you want more of me, you can find me right there on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can also follow me on my own channel, Studio Kabuto, where I host a weekly live stream, The Good, the Mad, the Ugly, where we take some time to, do deeper breakdowns into things that might not get discussed around our sphere: anime, manga, video games, toku, all that sort of fun stuff. For those who do watch, there will not be an episode this week. I've got I've got a thing to go to that I just will not be at my desk, but we will be back. And then, as always, we've got things going up on this YouTube channel on the daily. Mondays, we have Monday Rewind with Cider and Jacob, where they break down the biggest stories from the weekend that we might not have been able to cover since most of us are out of the office. Wednesdays, obviously, you can come here. Thursdays, Tokyo Happy Hour. And then every day, Monday through Friday, our boy Cider is breaking down the biggest stories with a video. So make sure to check those out. Share them out there. He's always got the word and always got the right insights on it. So check them out. And that's exactly where you can find us. And until then, I believe that's all we've got going on. So with that, I will sign off. Take it easy, everyone, and we will see you next week.
See ya.
Thanks.